It's the Battle of the Bell in Harrison City, Pennsylvania on homecoming weekend for the Penn Trafford Warriors as the Gateway Gators make the short trip down Route 130 in a battle of 3-3 teams. We wish you a pleasant good evening here at Penn Trafford High School. Adam Gusky and Vince Russo on the call for you in a huge game that will go a long way to deciding a conference championship, Vince.
Absolutely. Both of these teams started out the season in similar fashion, playing tough schedules, quality opponents, struggled to score, but over the last 3 weeks, these two teams averaging 42 points a game for the Warriors, 52 points a game for the Gators, including that 63-point effort against Hempfield last week. Both of these teams have very different styles, but they've been putting up points in bunches lately.
And Vince, like we said, the Battle of the Bell, and the home team has won the last two bells 2 seasons ago here at Warrior Stadium, last season at Anna Marino Stadium for the Gators.
Yeah, and both real barn burners, 15-10 here 2 years ago. A big fourth down stop cemented it for Cade Yakimelli at the time, and the Warriors, who then went on to win the WPIAL that season. Then last year, a 21-10 final, as you see on that bell down on the field. And Birch had a passing touchdown, Reynolds ran it in, and then Remy Bose, who we won't see tonight, but had a pick six to seal that one at Anna Marino Stadium. So both games the last couple of years since this rivalry is reinstated with the bell have been really, really fun to watch, and I think we'll get another one tonight.
You just mentioned Birch and Jaquan Reynolds, and those are two players that have really blossomed over the last several weeks as the Gators have gone on this winning streak.
Boy, Birch really has looked so good the past few weeks. 10 passing touchdowns to just a couple picks on the season. 5 touchdowns last week, running one in, 6 total. Reynolds, 4 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 2 over the passing game. He really looks dynamic now that they have Birch back in there and the full arsenal of weapons. Steve Jenkins really opening things up on offense. There's not many teams in this state that have the amount of weaponry that the Gators offense has, and that's going to allow people to find space and find nooks and crannies from the defense. And I think Jaquan Reynolds is someone who's really benefited from there being other threats on the field. Defenses can't key in on him the way that they were early in the season.
Let's take a look at the Penn Trafford Warriors, and they're a team with a huge line, something the Gators struggled with mightily early in the season.
Yes, absolutely. You think about the contests against North Hills, Woodland Hills, Mount Lebanon. All 3 teams had size in the trenches, and so this is going to be a real big test for the Gators. And truth be told, this entire matchup sort of comes down to who can establish their style quickly and get ahead in this game. For Penn Trafford, they're going to try to run the ball effectively. They've got a two-headed monster. They're averaging over 250 rushing yards a game. They're going to try to take the air out of the ball, possess the ball, keep Brad Birch and company on the sidelines, and build a lead that way. And the Gators are going to try to attack over the air and get Penn Trafford out of their comfort zone, get them to have to start passing the ball and play from behind, which is not something that Penn Trafford has done very well with this season.
This game always something special between the Gateway Gators and the Penn Trafford Warriors, and we talk about it year in and year out. You know, even the coaching situation with Ruane being a Gateway teacher, so many Gateway teachers on the Penn Trafford sideline. You know, it's something special when these two teams meet.
Absolutely. Both of these squads, a lot of tradition. Both have been competitive for quite some time. Certainly there's the trash talk from having Ruane as a teacher over at Gateway and the students sort of giving him an earful all week long, and an alumnus of Gateway as well. So I'm sure that it means something special for him every year getting to go up against his alma mater. And, you know, these teams have won a combined 3 WPIAL championships since 2017, so some real pedigree between these programs.
Nearly set to get this one underway between the Gateway Gators and the Penn Trafford Warriors. Gateway will kick things off. They will go right to left in their white uniforms, And it'll be Blake Marsh kicking off. And we are underway in Harrison City, PA. A short kick, fair caught by Penn Trafford. That's Max Schwenning with the fair catch. And it'll be Warriors ball not far from midfield. I think they're going to spot that one at the 43. Vince.
Yeah, they're going to get excellent field position. I'm not sure if Marsh maybe want to get a little bit more under this one to try and, you know, the goal is to get it to hang so there'd be no return, or even that they might be able to lay a hit on the would-be returner. But a good job there getting the fair catch and taking sort of the stress out of that situation. That's always stressful as the up man with the ball coming your way when you're not expecting it. So they handled that really well, the Warriors did.
Shotgun, sidecars to both sides of the QB. Tasso Whipple is the ball carrier, and he picks up big yardage on first down. Finally brought down near the midfield stripe by Craig Schultz.
And you see Whipple there at the end just kicking those legs forward, churning toward that first down marker. This is a team that really prides itself on that physicality. And Whipple, broke the school record just a few weeks ago, averaged 13 yards a carry, averaging almost 8 yards a carry on the season. He has been really special.
Louver in the pistol. Snap came in, and I don't think Penn Trafford was set. This is going to cost them 5 yards. Instead of second down and 3, it's going to be second down and 8 for the Warriors.
Yeah, broken play there. You saw that they snapped that one, and it was caught quickly by Heath Dunlap, the junior tailback, and he was not really anticipating or expecting that one.
Clock winding, 11:11 to play, quarter one. Again, Gators with their backs up against it after the short kick to start things, and the Warriors in great field position at the 45. Louver looks right, throws right, and the pass in and out of the hands of Carmen Metcalf. He had that ball right in his mitts and just couldn't hang on the coverage. Stephen Jenkins for the Gators.
Yeah, Metcalf, the one they want to get the ball to when it comes to the passing game. They don't pass it super often, but Metcalf, 27 grabs, 350 yards, averages about 13 per, couple touchdowns on the season. He's going to be the guy when they do drop back to pass that you want to keep an eye on. If you're the Gators, this is exactly what you want to do, is get them into a third and long situation and a likely passing down here.
Louver sends the wing on the right in motion. Looks right, throws right. The pass incomplete. Looking for Metcalf again, this time too strong by Louver. And that'll bring up 4th and 8.
Great stop by the
unit's going to come on, sorry.
Yeah, no problem, Adam. That's a great stop by the Gators. When whichever team was going to get the kick option in this one could tell they were going to want to receive, as both these teams, we talked about trying to establish their own style of play, and so the Gators, they get that stop, and now they get a chance to get their offense in the field and play from a place of an advantage if they get some points here in the passing game.
Low snap, but the punt away by Louver. This one will bounce to the Gators sideline, out of bounds, around the 24, I do believe, and that's where Gateway will start with the football, excuse me.
That Gators offense, we talked about 52 points over the past 3 weeks. They've really taken a stronghold in some big games, 3 in all conference games. And so you talk about a season that, we were looking at after the first 3 games, especially after that North Hills loss. It felt like a game the Gators could have, should have won even without Brad Birch in there. You started thinking about, boy, this could be a long season. And now they start to look like that competitor again in 5A, and a very down year for 5A.
On the ground, Reynolds running right. Tries to turn the corner, lowers the shoulder, pushes the pile for a couple.
Reynolds, 4 total touchdowns over the past few games, or last week, and then has really been racking up. Leads the Gators once again in touchdowns on the season. 9 total touchdowns, 500 scrimmage yards. He really is that ace up the sleeve. They could use him in so many different ways.
Birch again in the shotgun. Looking right the whole way. Tosses to that right-hand side, looking for Jenkins in double coverage. Pass is incomplete as Tyler Boss was over there for Penn Trafford.
Yeah, they had Kenny Lewis at the bottom of the screen, but that initial read up to the top, all the other 3 receivers completely blanketed. Good coverage by Penn Trafford, and Birch, more than anything, just sort of had to throw that one away. Tried to kind of squeeze it in there, but luckily threw it high so it couldn't get picked.
Birch off of play action, dumps it off. It's Jenkins running left, out across the 30. Does the knee go down? Jenkins didn't think so. The officials say it did. And this will bring up 4th and short with the ball shy of the 35. Does Don Hall risk it?
Keeping that offense out there for now. But we've talked about so many times throughout the season, Brad Birch is the punter as well for the Gators. This might be an instance where they just try to draw the opponent off sides and then see Birch drift back a little bit and launch one as a punter. But nevertheless, it keeps that punt return unit off the field for Penn Trafford. That's exactly what they're going to do, and Burt's going to get a nice bounce on this too.
It certainly wasn't pretty, but it does its job as it will continue to roll inside of the 15 and die at the 14 before Kenny Lewis touches it for the Gateway Gators, and it'll be first and 10 for Penn Trafford back at that 14. And we talked about this earlier, Vince, taking a look at the Big East Conference, just a hodgepodge near the top, and of course, year in and year out, it's those top two teams, Gateway and Penn Trafford.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's surprised to see us here at this point in the season with a game of this consequence and this magnitude, and that the Gators having that extra win under their belts. They're really at a position where between this game and the game against Norwood, if they can win one of those final two contests, puts them in very good position to be in the postseason. To
the ground go the Warriors. Running to the right-hand side is Whipple. Whipple picks up more than enough for a Warriors first down out across the 25. And a Gator is down back behind the play. But good news, he is up to his feet, and that was Roberson Louise June.
Yeah, nice burst of speed there by Whipple. One thing you see, not only is Penn Trafford always tough and physical up front, but their running backs always seem to be so decisive and so quick, not a whole lot of dancing in the backfield. Get the ball, go where the hole's supposed to be. More often than not with these offensive linemen, that hole is there, and then just follow your blockers as far as you can and drag people along the way.
Pistol this time with Whipple taking the handoff, running right, picking up positive yardage out across the 35, and they'll mark him down at the 36-yard line. Nice carry again as Jair Phillips makes the tackle.
Again, talk about Whipple. You know, he has 950 scrimmage yards on the season, 9 touchdowns. Last year had just over 300 yards and a handful of touchdowns, and nearly beat all of those numbers with that 300-yard performance just 2 weeks ago against Hempfield, having himself an incredibly special year thus far, one of the top leading rushers in the WPIAL.
Motion man from right to left, handoff. Whipple running left, first down and more. Off to the races he will go. Inside of the 40, the 30, finally hauled down from behind inside of the 20 as Kenny Lewis makes the stop for the Gateway Gators, but not before Whipple is brought down at the 16. Wow, what a game.
You know, compared to some of the guys we've seen over the past few years, Whipple, not the largest. As you see him 6'1", 195. It's not that he's physically imposing against even the secondary here as you see him racing past the Gators, but a little faster than we've seen some of the Penn Trafford running backs the past several years. He's got a real burst through the hole there, and that time saw daylight and just turned on the afterburners for a big gain.
Grabowski the back this time, running to the right. Nowhere to go for him. The Gators in the backfield as Jenkins leads the charge.
That's going to be, you know, a real tough thing for the Gators here defensively. Is anytime they get, you know, Whipple gas and he needs a break, in comes Grabowski, who has 478 yards and almost 7 yards to carry himself on the season thus far, and is no stranger to the end zone. He's had some real big games recently.
Raman Payne also in on that stop for the Gateway Gators. Penn Trafford in the red zone at the 16. Second and 10 for the team in green.
Jenkins and number 71, Raman Payne for Gateway.
Whipple, big hole into the end zone for a 16-yard touchdown. And I'm talking a gaping hole,
Vince. The Gators have struggled against offensive lines of this size that look to inflict physicality and pain upon the opponents, and that time, that drive, each and every play, it looked like whether it was Grabowski or Whipple, they were about 5 yards downfield into that second level of the defense before anyone really had their heads turned around or getting contact on the runner.
Yeah, other than the one play on first down on this particular set of downs, it was all Penn Trafford on the ground. PAT is up and in. And with 6:39 to play in quarter one, the Warriors strike first, leading the Gators 7-0. Certainly an inauspicious start for the Gateway Gators, especially with a 3-and-out on the offensive side, followed up by a rapid touchdown drive that covers 86 yards.
Well, they got the initial stop and got off the field quickly. Things looked promising that they were able to get that 3-and-out defensively, but then the offense, a whole lot of nothing. A quick run by Reynolds followed by an incompletion and then a very short gain by Jenkins. And I do like what they were doing there on that third down play of just getting Jenkins the ball in space, He's been someone that's been incredibly hard to bring down all season. So if you're the Gators, can't panic here, can't hang your heads. Give up 7 here quick, but you still believe that what you can do offensively and do quickly can lead to some results here. And so it'll be interesting to see which way they go with things coming out of this this break here.
And you've got to think, Vince, that once the offense does get out on the field, one thing they've got to do is they've got to start to take some chances. They weren't shy with taking chances the past several weeks. Can't get, conservative against Penn Trafford just because they're a big, strong team who's up with you at the top of the conference.
No, you got to really put those DBs to the test. Do they have the speed and the physicality, the athletic prowess to stick with guys like Jenkins? I mean, Steven Jenkins is averaging 27 yards a catch. I mean, every time it seems Birch is dialing it up, and his deep ball has been excellent the past few weeks. He has put it on a dime, on a rope, right to where his guys need it to be. And Jenkins has been great going up and high pointing the ball in traffic. Underneath, you've had guys like Lewis and Selby who have been great at extending plays, yards after the catch. And so there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of opportunities to exploit with that many talented pass catchers. Someone's going to get open. Can the line up front give Birch enough time? We saw that was an issue early in the season. And then from there, can Birch stay confident even if the results aren't there early in the game to stand in the pocket and deliver? He's been doing that recently, taking some big hits, delivering that ball late whenever he's got some pressure in his face. And if he can keep doing that, the Gators will be all right.
Carl Heller will kick off after the Warriors strike first. This one a bouncing kick all the way down towards the 10 where it'll be scooped up by Kenny Lewis. Trying to cut it across the field, and he'll be wrapped and brought down at the 15-yard line. Ben Grabowski on the tackle for Penn Trafford.
Bounce so slowly. You see this ball just continue to sort of bounce 3, 4, 5 times by the time Lewis gets to it. And he doesn't want to run up to it to overrun it and fumble it. But that gives Penn Trafford ample time to get down the field in a hurry and tackle Lewis inside the 20, which you don't see all too often from these return men for the Gators between him or Terrence Cole. They've had a real great run of returns this year.
Offset pistol. Birch takes the snap. Hands off. Reynolds up the middle. Tons of room. Running left. Hit and brought down after picking up a Gateway first down as it's Tasso Whipple on the tackle.
How about that for a nice burst through the middle? Reynolds, one quick cut there, finds the hole. A nice little move there to get away from the first would-be tackler. And then a couple times this season, he's taken some big hits from behind. Good job hanging on to the ball there, even while taking a hit you didn't see coming.
Hand off again to Reynolds, running right. Ball came loose. Penn Trafford says they have it. The official is going to converse here.
It looks like they're going to mark it down on the field so the Gators catch a break. Let's take a look at the replay.
It looked like he was down. That ball, he was reaching that ball out for some extra yardage.
Yeah. Reynolds has had some issues this year, though. He's been sure-handed his many years here running the ball for the Gators, but a few fumbles early in the season.
2nd and 9, play action. Toss right, Kenny Lewis. Lewis brought down right around the 40-yard line. Gang of green in there on the tackle, including Matthew Sarnowski.
We've seen against quality opponents the Gators move the ball in this way. Nickel, dime, good mix of run and pass. Can they finish these drives? We've seen every time they seem to play a quality opponent, either turn the ball over or have it stall out on downs. Got to come away with some points here.
So 3rd and 3 for the Gators. Toss left, complete. Jenkins, first down and more. Still on his feet into Warrior territory and brought down at the 47-yard line. And again, just that defense converging to make the stop for Penn Trafford. Tasso Whipple amongst others on the stop.
Great play design. Just let the tight end sort of float right there into the middle of the field. Get the ball to him quick. That's a quick catch and release by Birch in the gun. Moves the chains. Good awareness to know exactly where you need to be, where you need to get. Jenkins settling in right past that first down marker.
Birch tossing right to Kenny Lewis. He leaps up and pulls it in. 1st and 10 for the Gators. And it's red zone time.
again, we just talked about this, right? The combat catches, guys being able to go up in traffic, make a catch. And Lewis, he knows he's going to take a shot there at the end of that one. Beautiful catch, pulling that one in.
So 1st and 10 to the ground go the Gators. Dancing left, Reynolds brought down around the 10-yard line.
You see a lot of confidence from this offense, too. Love to see it. After a 3-and-out, things look a little disjointed. In the past, we've seen the Gators sometimes hang their heads or look a little frustrated. This time, getting right back in the huddle. This up-tempo is keeping Penn Trafford off balance. Good mix of run and pass.
Handoff, Reynolds up the middle, driving his way inside of the 10 to around the 8, where he is stacked up. Tackled by Scarcelli.
Yeah, and if you're looking at this as 4-down territory, if you're wanting to avoid a field goal or wanting to stay knotted up, you got a 3rd and short opportunity here, assuming you might have 2 cracks at it. Can open up the playbook big time here as they go with the trick play.
End around. It's Selby running right. Gators 1st down inside of the 5. He would not be denied as he was strung to the boundary, but was able to turn things forward and get the Gators 1st down.
Yeah, used a good bit of patience to allow the blocking. You see, just waiting. Allows the block to engage her by Jenkins, and then just puts his head down. Fights his way forward. For as physical as Penn Trafford is, Gators looking physical offensively.
So 1st and goal for the Gators at the 4. Gateway looking to answer back after the Warriors went on an 86-yard touchdown drive. Up the middle, it's Reynolds. Brought down after a gain of about a yard to the 3.
And a whole host of folks in there.
Riley McCaw led the charge for Penn Trafford on that 1st and goal. Now it's 2nd and goal, and the left side of the offensive line moved there for the Gateway Gators.
We've seen this in the past
I was just going to bring that up.
with Penn Trafford's defensive line. They like to do that, shift at the last moment. You'll see on that left side of the line, a couple guys biting on it there, threw them off a little bit, and so now that on 2nd and goal is going to drive things back to the 9, and still got 3 cracks at it, but got to be careful passing the ball down here. Tight windows, not a whole lot of space to throw.
Play action, Birch looks left, throws left, the pass batted around on its way to Harper, and it falls to the turf, incomplete. Lots of green jerseys in the vicinity.
Yeah, just got done saying everything sort of tightens up a little bit here down towards the goal line. You see there, that's into double coverage there with a 3rd jersey not too far off for Penn Trafford, and so you got to really be mindful of what you're doing here. Now you're in a 3rd and long situation. You wonder if you try to just hit something underneath or get Reynolds out in the flats, try to pick up a decent chunk to give yourself a 4th and manageable.
So 3rd and goal at the 8. Play action, toss into the end zone. Jenkins was open, but Birch overthrows him, and that brings up 4th and goal.
You can see Jenkins knows it. He had the step, nice route inside. They faked the handoff. You think they might have went with the jet sweep, and then Birch just a little too much on that one. They're going to be kicking themselves if they come up empty on this play here, as that was a surefire 6 points right there.
So 4th and goal for Gateway here. Ball at the 8-yard line with just under 3 minutes to play in quarter number 1. Gators looking to the sideline, waiting for the play. Still about 10 seconds on that play clock. Rolling right, Birch pumps, throws to Harper, and the pass is incomplete over his head. Turnover on down.
And again, Harper was open. That would have been a tough throw to pull that one down through traffic and get that to 14 in the back of the end zone. But you look right here, Harper takes that extra step back, clean, no push off, and Birch just airmails that one and can't give the receiver a chance to come down with it. And so that's, we talked about this earlier, that first driving on Mount Lebanon early in the season. Turnover, taken the other way, took the air out of the game. Multiple times with Sid Bryan at quarterback against Woodland Hills. Gators move the ball down into the red zone, can't convert. So now you have another one of those drives where you come up empty. Now you got to get a big stop here to avoid going down by a few scores.
Especially since Penn Trafford just went on an 86-yard touchdown drive. And they'll try to do the same here on the ground. Not a lot of room this time for Tasso Whipple as he's met at the line of scrimmage and brought down. Tackle on the play by Roberson Louis June.
thing that the Gators will have to hold up against here is this is a Penn Trafford team that's just going to keep coming at you. And we talked about they have multiple guys. They're comfortable getting the ball in their hands. And even the quarterback himself is going to take that ball down and run with it from time to time. They do a good job of scheming things up to get guys moving around the formation. That's a little flag on the field. That's going to be on the Gators.
Okay, so unless the neutral zone which was breached, which we obviously can't see from this vantage point, the Gators shifting around drew the whistle or drew the flag there. Penn Trafford, who 2 seasons ago when the Gators played here, when we were here a couple of years ago, I remember that clear as day, how many times they would shift drawing the Gators offensive line. And we had a conversation on the air 2 years ago about that, about does the defensive lineman's movement cause the offensive line to move?
Well, the last drive, it was pretty clear that movement did coerce the offensive line into jumping, as it looked like they were about to be contacted.
To the ground, Whipple running right. Turns his shoulders. Tries to drive the pile, but the Gators stack him up and push him back. Still some positive yardage. They'll say just enough for the first down. Gain of 3 on the play. 1st and 10. As the ball pushed out to the 18. Like I said, prior to that, it's very possible the Gators breached the neutral zone. And,
absolutely.
Our conversation is moot in regards to that. 1st and 10. Clock winding down to the final minute of quarter 1. Inside handoff. Whipple running right. Lots of room. Off to the races he goes again. Will be tracked down by Jenkins, but not before getting into Gators territory to around the 40-yard line.
Jenkins letting his teammates have it, frustrated after, again, you see another run by the Warriors where Whipple, until he's contacted there, he's about 25 yards downfield before anyone gets a hand on him whatsoever. And Mark Knight, his outstretched arms couldn't get it done. And Jenkins, again, a DB for this defensive unit, having to come back into the play and make a touchdown-saving tackle. It's not going to be a very successful night for the Gators if they have to keep making those kind of tackles.
Gateway shows blitz, running left. Grabowski, the Wildcat quarterback, cutting it back to the right, still on his feet, driving his way inside of the 35 to around the 34 before Louis June makes the tackle.
This is what Penn Trafford wanted to do, come out and establish this run and just keep coming at you, hammering you every single play, taking this clock all the way down to the end of the first quarter. And, that Gators offense had momentum. But who knows the next time they'll get on the field. Staying off the field for this long, if Penn Trafford can keep these long drives moving, that's exactly their game plan. That's what they want to do to win this game.
Time out on the field. We're going to take a pause as well. Back with second quarter action. It's the Warriors 7, the Gators 0. And you're watching it right here on GatewayGatorProductions.com.
I'd like to remind everyone that tonight's game is being broadcast live on video on the Westland Sports Network. You can watch tonight's game live or on demand by visiting www.westlandsports.com. Underneath is smartphone or tablet. Your broadcast host for the Westland Town Festival is the Westland Sports Network. And Warriors Stadium Athletic Park are big school sponsors. They are the Monroeville LLC, Dr. College Academy, BDMA, People Insure, and First Acme, Tax Energy, Brinker Tree Service, NGI Risk Management, 337 Master Dr. Kevin and Michael Wall, Master Son, Rock Field Insurance, Susanna Custodian, NBNC, Randall Valley Golf Course, and the Connecticut Association. And let's not forget about our first feedback. Taking sanitary supply, First Food, Airborne Food, and the Independence Health System, as a provider of the PP world.
You'd be 100 no right now.
Where will the bell reside for another year? That will be determined over the next 3 quarters. Right now, the Penn Trafford Warriors look to reclaim it, leading the Gateway Gators 7-0 as we start quarter number 2 here in Harrison City, Pennsylvania. Adam Gusky, Vince Russo on the call for you on GatewayGatorProductions.com. Warriors facing a 2nd down and 4 at the 34. To the ground, it's Whipple. Whipple sliding his way forward through some traffic and brought down at around the 31-yard line.
Right now, the Gators just don't have an answer for Whipple, Grabowski, and company there, that offensive line for Penn Trafford. They have been moving the pile, and like we've talked about, it's a 3rd and short here. It's been anywhere from 5 to 15 yards that these running backs have been getting downfield before any first contact.
Straight eye backfield here. To the ground, to the right-hand side. More than enough for the first down as it's Hoover picking it up. Driving inside of the 30 to around the 26-yard line. So another long drive continuing for Penn Trafford. Their first touchdown drive covered 86 yards for a 16-yard touchdown run by Tasso Whipple.
This is what they do. They just keep chipping away. Last week converted 11 out of 12 third downs, rushed for 436 yards against Norway. Scored on their first 4 possessions of the first and second half in that game. Don't see that all that often at this level.
Hand off. Whipple running right. Nowhere to go. Jenkins is there. Solo tackle in the backfield.
And for as much as we've talked about him all season offensively, and the numbers obviously pop out in a big way, he's been really solid defensively, and he's going to have to keep making plays like this tonight on this side of the ball if the Gators are going to ride that type of performance to a victory. He has been really, really physical, playing sort of that DB, DN position, and when he's been able to knife into the backfield and read plays like that, and you can tell that he's someone who's going to play MAC level football at the next level. He's got size, speed, and that sense of the game that it comes naturally to him as well, and that time he read that play perfectly.
2nd and long. Play action. Toss left. Pass batted away. Making the play, Jair Phillips, the senior D-back.
Yeah, good read there. Kind of surprised that they went pass on 2nd and long with how effective the run has been, because now it backs you into a 3rd and long situation as well, unless they're really looking at this as 4-down territory the full way and are comfortable potentially running it a few times here. But Phillips, a good job there. And this is, we talked about up front, Penn Trafford, that's where their strength is, and the Gators certainly no slouch in the trenches we've seen the last few weeks, but their skill really on the outside there. And a lot of these receivers play DB and vice versa. Phillips not so much on the offensive side of the ball, but they're just so talented in the defensive backfield.
Toss left. Again the pass. Incomplete as Phillips makes the play on Carmen Metcalf.
Yeah, broke on it perfectly. You'll see here, reads at 100%, and a great job not getting in there too early. As soon as that ball got in there, made the play, would have been able to tackle him, it looks like, before he had reached that 1st down yardage, even if the catch was made. So good job eyeing that up and making sure that the receiver didn't get to the marker to gain there. So it'll be interesting to see here. They're sort of in that no man's land at the 33. Not going to probably try a 50-yard field goal, I would think. So do you try to pin the Gators real deep here and pin your ears back defensively, or looks like they're keeping the offense out on the field after all?
But they are going with an empty set, so this may be a pooch punt similar to what we see from Gateway. Louver, low snap, looking left, has time, throws, pass incomplete as Kenny Lewis gets the hand in there to swat it away from the intended receiver, Nick Punko.
So, first of all, great defensive stand by the Gators. Bend, don't break, defensive secondary, great job there. Louver definitely had some time to make a throw there, but the coverage there, excellent across the field. If you're Penn Trafford, I'm really surprised that after that 2nd and 4, you go away effectively, or converting that 3rd and short, you go away from the run. Jenkins blow up that one play in the backfield, and you sort of abandon the run for the rest of that drive and go to the air. That sort of has given the Gators life here now, down just 1 score. You move the ball in the last drive, get back on the field, see what they can do here.
Birch in the shotgun, sends Lewis in motion. To the air. Screen pass. Reynolds to the left. Across the 50. Brought down at the 45. Well executed screen play, great blocking, and a good finish for Reynolds.
Yeah, an excellent misdirection, too. It really looked like Lewis had that for a minute, and then it looked like Birch might look downfield. That's the threat, right? Where last couple of weeks, all the film they've been watching is Birch throwing it downfield. A quick little cut there into the flat by Reynolds, and then he's so shifty, so good with the ball in his hands after the catch. That was a great play.
Good job by Chase Gabriel out there leading the way, as is Roberson Louise June. Birch in the shotgun, trips to the right. Don Hall takes the timeout as coach and QB not on the same page.
Yeah, I hate to burn one there early in the second quarter, but once again, you've got the ball into opponent's territory. Every play so big in a rivalry game, and these two teams at the top of the conference and the top 5 of the local rankings, and so you just want to make sure you got all your ducks in a row. We've seen over the last couple of years with how close these games have been. That margin for error. Just a 5-point game came down to the very end here 2 years ago. And though it was an 11-point win for the Gators last year, let's not forget that pick 6 by Remy Bose came pretty late in that contest. It was a 14-10 game throughout a lot of that second half.
Talked about the rankings in the Post-Gazette, and we did see earlier on when we were looking at the conference standings that Gateway and Penn Trafford have returned to the PG rankings. Peters Township right now the favorite in 5A, undefeated, and after talking to some of their staff members, they're just a very solid team. Nothing flashy, they just get it done. Penn Hills, number 2, Gateway 3, Penn Trafford 4, and the Moon Tigers sit at number 5. No teams in the Big East Conference in the Trib 5A rankings. Peters Township, Penn Hills, USC, Woodland Hills. To the ground, up the middle, it's Reynolds driving the pile. Picks up about 3 to the 42.
We talk about that top 5 after the short gain by Reynolds. And so Moon in the top 5 after that win over Penn Hills. That's their only blemish of the season, that number 2 team in 5A. They got the test tonight against Penn Trafford. That's a big one in the Allegheny 6 conference. See how that one shakes out. That should really determine where those two teams are moving forward.
Peters Township, the other PT.
Yes.
You said Penn Trafford.
Freudian slip.
It happens. Peters Township Indians, Penn Trafford Warriors. It's tough to keep track as Birch will keep this one running right, driving his way inside of the 40, brought down at the 36-yard line, about a yard shy of the first down flag.
Birch, 121 rushing yards last week against Hempfield. A big chunk of that came off of about a 40-yard scamper late in that one, but he looked really good pulling the ball down. And since Sid Bryant started playing, they've incorporated some more design quarterback runs.
Reynolds running left. He's got more than enough for a Gators first down. Spun down inside of the 25. They'll actually mark him at the 25, where it'll be 1st and 10 for Gateway.
For as much as Reynolds struggled in the year, was averaging just a little over 2 yards a carry, had 14 receptions for just 35 yards. I mean, it was real tough going because, again, he was able to be keyed in on because they were missing a few components of that Gators offense. He looks so confident down there. I'm glad he's remained confident despite the tough start to the season.
Reynolds up the middle, brought down at around the 20-yard line.
Reynolds for 5 more.
Tackle made by Scarcelli.
Once again, Gators knocking on the door here at the red zone at the 20-yard line. Got to come away with some points here. Got to come away with something. Try to tie this game up. Got a golden opportunity here.
Toss to the right-hand side. Jenkins, he's got the first down, spun down at around the 10-yard line.
Again, a great mix of run and pass here. The Gators doing a great job. Good play design, just real simple. Get into the hands. These are some plays that the Gators were missing on early in the season that they've started to really hit on, getting blockers downfield, not getting down too fast, no ineligible men downfield. Good to see this team progress and grow offensively as the season goes on.
1st and goal at the 10. Kind of a forward push to Jenkins. Shovel pass picks up 2. And that'll bring up 2nd and goal at the 8.
Now, we've seen this play get so popular at all levels of football over the past 3 to 5-ish years, that quick little shuttle pass to the tight end. That time, good job by the Warriors staying at home, being ready for that one.
Option left pitch, Reynolds inside of the 10. Can he turn the corner? Still on his feet, dives to the pylon. It's a Gators touchdown.
Beautiful second effort. I'm glad they signaled touchdown quickly. That ball did squirt loose there right at the end. But Reynolds, again, boy, doesn't he look confident early in this one. Gets it, and you can tell he's already turning on the jets, looking at what angle he needs, puts that shoulder down, takes the contact, and he's in before the ball comes loose. Good call, good score there for the Gators.
Marsh PAT attempt is up and good, and we are tied at 7-all with 6:03 to play, second quarter.
Well, both squads have flexed their offensive muscles in the way we thought we would see early in this one. Rushing touchdown for the Gators, but a drive built through short passing plays and a good mix and balance offensively for Penn Trafford. They've been leaning real heavily on the run, other than that last little gasp at the end of the drive there that stalled out for them in the pass game. And so both of these squads doing exactly what they want to do, staying true to their identity offensively. It'll be interesting as this night goes on. Can the Gators connect? Can they hit that deep ball? We only saw one crack at it so far. We did see a medium sort of connection over the middle to Kenny Lewis. You wonder if they'll continue to take shots downfield, but hard to argue against what they did on that last drive, Adam, which was really just taking what the defense gave them and really turning it on in the run game, which we haven't seen a whole lot this season. That's really promising against a very physical Penn Trafford defense.
Speaking of physicality, big hit taken by Brad Birch, but what a perfectly timed pitch on that option play. He saw the defensive end coming, made that pitch on time, right in the right place, allowing Reynolds to turn that corner and score the Gators TD on second effort.
Really did. Suck that defensive end in, made him commit to him as the ball carrier, and then at the last moment getting that ball into Reynolds' hands with a lot of green space in front of him, and Reynolds just following his blocker down towards the goal line, taking the hit, dishing out a little contact of his own, and making sure to extend just enough to get over the end line there to get 6 on the board for the Gators.
Taking a look forward for the Gateway Gators. A home game next week as they will step out of conference, taking on the number 3 team in 4A, the McKeesport Tigers, before wrapping up conference play on the road at Norwin, and then they will finish things off at home against the top team in 6A, the Central Catholic Vikings.
Yeah, no rest for the wicked, as they say, coming down the stretch here. I mean, McKeesport and Central Catholic, respectively, some of the best teams in their classification. Again, we've talked about it ad nauseum, but a lot of people thinking Central Catholic might be the best team in the state this year, with how they have just been like a hot knife through butter through their schedule thus far. And then, right in between there, the Norwin Knights, they've put some scares into some teams. This not your dad's Norwin Knights, as some might say. They have put together some good performances. They've shown no quit, put together a 23-point comeback win against Plum, very nearly came back against Woodland Hills. Last week hung around for a little while with this Penn Trafford team before Penn Trafford really took it to them with 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns.
And heading into that game, the Gateway Gators cannot overlook a road game against a conference opponent. Regardless of how tonight's game plays out, a win there helps them at least try to get themselves a share of a conference championship. Kick away by Marsh. And a nice return. Could have been a lot nicer. But a tackle is made by Casey Carter for the Gateway Gators, bringing down Oxendine, the return man for the Warriors, as we take another look at this one. Good patience. Nice escapability by Oxendine.
Yeah, very nearly gets brought down by Terrence Cole deep within his own territory, able to make that first man miss, and then from there, showing a little shiftiness to get some respectable field position just past the 20-yard line, but still good ways to go for this Penn Trafford offense.
Power left after the motion man settles on that left-hand side, and again, it is Tasso Whipple driving his way out towards the 30 before being spun down, and I think it was Stephen Jenkins on the tackle, and Jenkins got a little hitch in his giddy-up after that play is over.
Yeah, I'm sure that we'll see that out of a lot of guys tonight. Both of these teams looking to inflict punishment on each other. It's going to be a long one tonight. These guys are going to be sore tomorrow. We're still 5.5 minutes away from halftime.
Tackle on that play actually was credited to Mark Knight, and a false start by Penn Trafford's going to cost them 5 yards, so instead of 2nd and short, it's going to be 2nd and 7.
Been a few of those early in this one. Penn Trafford is taking the air out of their own sails a few times with penalties in this one. Gators, other than that one false start on the first drive after the shuffle by the Penn Trafford defense, it's been a pretty clean game for them. And we have seen the Gators defense able to shift a little bit too, so likely was a neutral zone infraction on that first one because both teams have been able to sort of move and shift defensively.
Whipple running left, nowhere to go this time as he is met at the line of scrimmage. Surges forward for a little bit, but Jacob Santo is there for the stop for the Gators.
Well, Gators defense has sort of exhaled and come back down to earth a little bit after a rocky start. Needed a couple touchdown-saving tackles from some of your DBs, but starting to really make Penn Trafford work for it now. A sort of 3rd and medium situation where you can kind of go either way with it. See what they dial up here. They tried to go with the pass game 3 times to no luck last drive.
Trips on the right of the formation after motion. Toss to the left to Whipple. He's wide open and he's off to the races. Down the near boundary, Mark Knight is chasing him. And it's a track meet right now, and Whipple will win it.
That's just a sneaky little route out of the backfield. Sort of just swings out into space and was able to beat the linebacker to take another look. From there, Whipple, as we talked about, a little faster than some of these running backs we've seen the past few years for Penn Trafford. By the time the defense got their head around to him, it was too late. He won that foot race.
Something goes awry with the PAT. The ball doesn't get past the line of scrimmage, and I think it may have been kicked into the backside of one of the blockers. But regardless, a point in a game like this could come up big in half number 2.
Oh, absolutely. That is a break for the Gators right there. Blake Marsh has been really, really solid on PATs this season. It's that one. Yeah, not sure if there was an issue with the hold whatsoever for Carl Heller there, but just sort of kicked that one in the back of his own lineman, and that makes you a little nervous if you're Penn Trafford. Every point, big, big, big in this game.
On the previous drive, offensively for Penn Trafford, it seemed like the Gators had started to put Jenkins as a spy on Tasso Whipple. It didn't happen on that play. Jenkins was coming from the left side on a safety or corner blitz, and that allowed Whipple to come to this near side and go off to the races. So you've got to wonder, is that a strategy that the Gators want to start to institute regularly? It's just, what was that kick? Karam's off of the front man for the Gateway Gators. Penn Trafford has the football. Surprise onside by the Penn Trafford Warriors. The Gators weren't ready for it, and the Warriors have it here, 1st and 10 at the 48.
This feels like it could be a really, really big turning point in this game one way or the other. Can the Gators overcome some real adversity here against a quality opponent? Or can the Warriors really stake a claim in this one heading into halftime? If they're able to run the ball effectively here and take the air out of this, they could go into halftime with a 2-score lead. Gators, one thing they've done well the last couple weeks, poking that ball out. See if they can generate a turnover.
Whipple running right, driving his way into Gators territory. And the Gators will bring him down after a gain of about 5. Flag comes in late in the play.
That'll be interesting. Not sure what happened there. Both sides churning, a lot going on there. Looks like the initial indication might be something against the Warriors, at least seeing some pointing in that direction from the officials. Yep.
Personal foul against the Penn Trafford Warriors as we get the call from our referee, Tyler Shutlerly.
That's something you see all that often out of the Warriors. They're normally very, very well coached, very disciplined. but a myriad of penalties early in this one have marched them back the last now 3 drives and have impacted their ability to finish on some of those drives, or at least made it harder. They were able to connect on that pass play on 3rd down.
Ben Grabowski, the quarterback. He'll send Whipple to an empty set. Grabowski running left initially, then tries to cut it back right after he ran into Jacob Santo. And the Gators will knock him down at the 40.
And all of a sudden, after a real tough break there, things looking somewhat fortuitous for the Gators. If you can avoid letting the levee break on either a draw play here or a designed pass, you got 3rd and 18 and an opportunity to get off the field and get your 2-minute drill offense out there on the field with a team that knows how to score quickly. And all of a sudden you go from being worried about this game starting to tip into Penn Trafford's hands to getting a chance to go into the half with a lead after that missed PAT, but got to get a stop here first.
Warriors motion trips to the left. They'll fake the end around. Toss to that far boundary is incomplete as the Gators sniffed that one out very well.
Yeah, good defense all the way around. Good pressure there. Ahmad Harris able to knife into the backfield, speed up that clock. And a good job taking the quarterback to the ground, but nothing nefarious, not hitting him high, not hitting him low. The official was centered in on that. I could see it. The back judge staring at that intently to see how that finished. But a good job, good quarterback pressure there without doing anything that would warrant a flag.
Scoreboard says 3rd down, but it is 4th down because the personal foul happened after the play was over. And this one, a high-hanging punt that will head towards that far sideline. This will be up to the officials on where this ball crossed that boundary. This always feels so arbitrary.
It is. It's got to be incredibly difficult to try and pinpoint that precisely, but definitely was past the 30 as it looks like it's around where the Gators will start. Mark at the 33-yard line. So decent field position here, 2.5 minutes. Don Hall's been able to keep a couple timeouts in the back pocket. Did have to burn that one with about 9 minutes left in the second quarter. But one that was worthwhile because it allowed the Gators to recalibrate and go on a drive that ended up scoring them a touchdown. So all in all, good clock management here by the Gators. You get that stop, you got time, you got timeouts. Now you get a chance to go down and try and take the lead into the half.
Empty set for Birch. Looks right, looks back left, throws left, wide open. Kenny Lewis, oh, he drops the football. Oh, there was nobody within a mile of him.
And a collective exhale from all of the Warriors faithful in front of us. And you could hear the Gateway coaches above us actually screaming, throw the ball, because you see Lewis has no one around him. And it is very rare that you will see that senior drop a sure-handed touchdown there. And my goodness, both 12 and 4 have got to be sick, but probably not as sick as Don Hall feels right now, because that was a surefire 6 points right there.
Setting up the screen. It's complete. Reynolds brought down in the backfield as that one was sniffed out by Kellen Taylor. That was Jenkins, not Reynolds,
yeah.
Sorry.
They're both in that vicinity. The quick tight end bubble screen there doesn't work. Let's see if Penn Trafford maybe thinks about calling a timeout here on now what becomes 3rd and long.
But 3rd and long will be negated because of a face mask penalty against the Penn Trafford Warriors. And it did look like Taylor was up around that cage area on Jenkins. So instead of 3rd and very long, it's 3rd down and about 1. Would have been 3rd and 16. Low snap. Toss. Jenkins can't hang on to it. That's 2 drop passes on this drive by the Gateway Gators.
And for all intents and purposes, I don't know if they're going to be gutsy enough and try to keep the offense out here. I mean, it's 1 yard, and you do believe in your playmakers, but we'll see if it ends up being an actual design play or a pooch punt, but this very well could have killed the drive. We'll see.
Now the scoreboard says 4th down this time, and it's 3rd down on the flag, which I think is the right call because the penalty during the play, you replay the down. The penalty after the play, the play stands, and then the penalty is enforced. So this will be 3rd down and about 1 for the Gateway Gators.
So suffice to say, we're not going to see a punt here.
Correct.
Wonder if the Gators will try and get it into Reynolds' hands quickly, try to pick up that quick yard for a 1st down. Or when they had the play designed up there for Jenkins, they've had their way offensively these last couple drives. Just the last couple plays, got to catch a ball.
And you've got to wonder, too, do you run Bradley Birch? Because we've seen Birch with the acumen to run the football, you know, especially the past couple of weeks. And last week, he talked about his 40-yard run. He had another run that went for several yards. It was a nice gain, but he ended up running about 150 yards to pick up, from what I saw on the TV broadcast, about 20 in total.
I think he gained and then gave up the 1st down twice before a 3rd time circling back into 1st down territory. Bob Orquist and I on the call for that one last week. That was a fun one to watch, but yeah, I mean, you talk about turning a 20, 30-yard run into a 50, 60-yard run. There was a lot of east-west going on there.
So 3rd and 1. Gators in the shotgun. And Kenny Lewis leans a little bit early, and instead of 3rd and 1, it's going to be 3rd and 6.
We talked about the last couple drives, the Warriors' self-inflicted wounds killing drives. The Gators doing everything they can to try and give this ball back to the Warriors with time on the clock. I mean, this turns it into a 3rd and medium now. Clock stops once again at 2:04. If you don't pick this up, all of a sudden, Penn Trafford's got an opportunity to get down the field here with a running attack that's been pretty potent thus far.
Long throw. Kenny Lewis that far side, and the pass this time shorted by Birch. And again, Lewis was fairly open, not nearly as open as he was on the 1st down play, but still reasonably open.
Yeah, this is a drive that if the Gators fall short in this game, they're going to look at, and it's going to haunt them because there were so many opportunities to make big plays, and the Gators just simply not executing at a high enough level to get it done.
So 4th and 6, the Gators do have an offense on the field. They're going to go for it. Birch tossing left, complete. It's a Gators 1st down. Pulling it in, Derek Selby, far sideline inside of Warriors territory.
Whew. That is a gutsy call, but you know what they say, scared money don't make money. And right there, a nice pitch and catch there between Birch and Shelby, and if nothing else, that makes sure that it's very unlikely we'll see Penn Trafford's offense again in this one. It keeps this drive alive, and they're in for the 3rd straight drive into opponent's territory.
Low snap, but Birch is able to gather it in. Looks right, throws right, leaping up. Kenny Lewis, combat catch, pulls it in, pulls green jerseys with him, and he'll be brought down at the 35.
Something to keep an eye on, Adam. Beautiful pitch and catch there as the Gators go fast here with less than 90 seconds left. A lot of snaps going low. One goes a little too quickly and gets through Birch's legs. All of a sudden he's backpedaling and having to go backwards in a hurry.
Little trickery. Jenkins toss to Birch. Birch hangs onto it and stumbles his way out of bounds inside of the 20 at the 19. It could have been more, but it's still a Gators 1st down, and they have it 1st and 10 inside the red zone.
Well, I don't know what they put on that ball, but the Gators are having a hard time catching that ball tonight. That was almost a 3rd drop there. Now, granted, this is a quarterback. He's not out there catching the ball all that often. Well, you could argue him being in a shotgun, he catches the ball every play. But a fun little trickeration there pays off well for the Gators, who set up inside the 20 for the 3rd straight drive into the red zone.
Birch looking left the whole way. Settles his feet, tosses to that far side, and not able to connect with Jenkins, who was cutting to that far boundary.
And he did have him there. And I think right around here, I would have thought about getting that ball to Reynolds, giving him a chance. Maybe Jenkins coming back, laying a block. A couple missed opportunities there, a couple of receivers that could have came down with that one. Got to give them a chance to catch it, though. That ball just a little outside.
So it's 2nd and 10 for the Gateway Gators, the ball at the 19. Birch steps up, then tosses, and the ball flutters, intended for Reynolds. Boy, that was a beautifully designed play, but not very well executed. I think there was a deflection at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you really hope that the Gators get some points here, as that one was tipped just so slightly. And Reynolds a little late getting his head around on that one as well.
Yeah, but it was fluttering. I think it was tipped up front. And when you're running right into Zachary Tomasevic at 6'5", 310, not much of a surprise. Birch looks left, throws left. Uh-oh. And this one will carry out of the end zone. Lewis and Birch not on the same page as Lewis looks to the sideline to try to ascertain who made the mistake.
Lucky that one traveled out of bounds harmlessly, because that one very close getting picked by Jesse Libson, as you said. Now Gator's going to opt to try and go for 3 here, which is a bit of a shame with how this drive was shaping up, but you do feel with how the Gators have been playing thus far in this one that hopefully they can get to the locker room at halftime, get some of these mental errors in check, and give themselves a chance to come out. Feels like as this half has gone on, they've played like the better team.
Penalty against Gateway as things went awry during the substitutions. That'll push the ball back 5 yards to the 24. And this will make it a 41-yard field goal from the right hash for Blake Marsh.
Every yard critical for a high school field goal. Hate to take those kind of penalties.
Good snap, good hold, kick up, and that kick is carrying left and is no good. And the Penn Trafford Warriors keep the Gateway Gators off of the board. The Gateway Gators did a lot themselves to make sure they did that too.
Second drive into the red zone that ends with a turnover on downs in the first half for the Gators, and there's been a number of those this season. And again, you hope you can get to the half here with no further damage done, because the Gators, it's there. The plays have been there. The play calling has been there. It's been a good mix of run and pass. But on that drive, a mix of both physical and mental misfires there for the Gators, keeping points off of the board, which has to be super frustrating. And, you know, I was wrong. I didn't think we'd see the Warriors offense again, but so many stoppages there on that drive. They're going to have a chance here.
And they have 51 seconds to work with as they'll go to the ground with Tasso Whipple, and the Gators will stack Whipple up, driving him back. Tackle made by Ahmad Harris. Clock will continue to wind, so I don't think that Penn Trafford's in any hurry.
I'm surprised. I mean, they have all 3 timeouts, but that's one thing that sort of hurts the Warriors is they're not a, you know, as the Gators are built to score quickly with that pass-heavy attack and the weaponry they have on the outside. This is a Penn Trafford team that wants to possess the ball, and candidly is probably happy going into the half 13-7 up on their, you know, arch rival. But Gators will get the ball back to start the second half, which is promising for them.
Down to 10 seconds as the ball will go to Whipple. He's running right. He's wrapped by a couple of Gateway Gators. The first one there is Raman Payne. And Noodles with the stop on the final play of the second quarter. Well, Vince, as we take a look back at the first 2 quarters, Gateway had their opportunities offensively twice inside of the Penn Trafford red zone on their first opportunity with the football, a couple of overthrows by Brad Birch. Second opportunity, things just went too far awry.
This is candidly a first half that the Gators are going to look at and be really disappointed they're not leading after 2 periods. They did a really good job after a couple really big gash runs by Tasso Whipple of closing things up in the run game and looking physical on defense. The secondary's flocking to the ball. The passing game has had no impact for Penn Trafford. And then on the other side, offense is clicking. This is maybe the best performance we've seen from a balanced attack from the Gators standpoint against a quality opponent here in Penn Trafford. And so the plays were there where a Kenny Lewis drop away from leading, and you hate to pile on him whatsoever. He's been so great in all 3 phases of the game for the Gators. I have no doubt he'll come out and make an impact in the second half, but I know that's one he wishes he had back and would have put the Gators in front likely.
And we can't forget about on the first drive a couple of overthrows by Birch that probably would have led to Gators touchdowns, one to Harper, another one to a wide open Jenkins.
Yeah, and these are things that you hope, you know, you can just get into the locker room, get everyone to cool down for a second, sort of draw things up. You know, this is where coaching is important and at its premium here in high school. So what can Don Hall and his staff do to kind of rectify these little tweaks, these little issues that were there in the first half? All in all, the plays were there. The Gators played a pretty clean half, just the false start penalty. Other than that, they forced Penn Trafford into a lot of penalties, both offensively and defensively. And again, you feel like you were the better team coming out of that first half, which was going to be really interesting to see. Early in that game, it looked like Penn Trafford was going to run all over the Gators, and they were able to stir things up.
13-7 is your halftime score. We will be back with half number 2 action, but in the meantime, enjoy the Gateway and Penn Trafford marching bands. For Vince Russo, I'm Adam Gusky. You're watching GatewayGatorProductions.com. A 6-point lead for the host Penn Trafford Warriors in the Battle of the Bell. Will the Bell stay in Harrison City or will it return to Monroeville, Pennsylvania? We have 24 minutes of action to decide that, but right now Penn Trafford has a 6-point lead, though the Gators have shown they're able to move the football on the Warriors.
And they'll get the ball back here to start the second half to get that offense back out onto the field, and it'll be interesting to see what adjustments they make, what kind of conversations they had in the locker room. Even that last drive, we saw the Gators were moving the ball. They get it into the red zone on that pass completion to Brad Birch. Usually we're talking about completions from Brad Birch, but he was able to make the shoestring catch, and from there the Gators sputtered out and missed a 41-yard field goal by Blake Marsh. It was just a little wide left. And so Gators have had their way offensively. As the half went on, they looked more and more confident. We talked during the halftime break that, we've seen candidly some games where the Gators have gotten down early and there's been some poor body language or just a lack of confidence. And this team, as the game has gone on, it looks like they've played tougher and tougher and become more confident in what they're doing out there, both offensively and defensively. I think if the Gators stick to that with how they've played thus far, the rewards will come in spades for that.
And I think that's a microcosm of the way the season has gone. 3 straight losses to get things started, and then 3 straight conference wins as the Gators have gotten their legs under them. They never hung their head after those 3 straight losses. They got their legs under them and started winning football games.
And, could we be looking at a Gators team being humbled more early in the season than we're used to them seeing? Having that have to have resiliency and regrouping going into conference. This is a team that is always a nailed-on favorite every year in the Post-Gazette, the Trib, the #1 team. And this year, they got it handed to them 3 times early in the season. And when that happens, you got to go back and go to the drawing board and have some candid conversations in your locker room. And they've done that.
Bouncing kick will be scooped up by a Gator at around the 29-yard line. Out across the 35 to the 36-yard line, it's Donovan Biggs, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Gateway Gators. Decent field position as they'll spot this one at the 36.
Yeah, good job by Biggs just getting that one and getting upfield in a hurry. Most of the time you want to see those guys just sort of fall on it because they're your freshman and sophomore, but it just shows the talent. The guys that the Gators have as up men would probably be return men for many other teams, 1A to 6A. And that sets the Gators up with some real decent field position here, and it'll be interesting. They had the deep ball dialed up. We know what happened on the last drive, just through the hands, but will they continue to dink and dunk otherwise? What do they go with here to start this drive?
Birch, all kinds of time, and then hit late. Late pressure and a sack. And that's Kellen Taylor with the sack. And a loss on that play of 7.
Yeah, just ran out of time on that one. That play took a little too long to develop, and good coverage there. Coverage sack, taking things away. No one getting open there quickly for the Gators. And Birch has had just the first sack tonight. He's had a good bit of time to throw so far tonight.
Birch again in the shotgun. Looks left, tosses. Harper cuts it back. Out towards the 35. And it's about 3rd and a dozen now.
Well, this is an offense that is designed to be able to pick up that kind of yardage and see if they do some sort of triaged route where you got a safety valve, a middle option, and someone going deep over the top, try to spread this defense out. Gators have had success with it. They converted that 4th and short situation by throwing the ball pretty well downfield, and see if they can pick it up here.
3 receivers right. Birch has time, looks back left. Tosses to that far sideline, and he and Kenny Lewis not on the same page. A similar story to what we saw a couple of times in half 1.
And frustratingly, the Gators get the ball here to start the second half. And a chance to go down the field, make something happen. It's a quick 3 and out. And you'd think that even Birch being back there offensively, it'll be a surefire punt here on a 4th and dozen situation. So it's a squandered opportunity overall.
We thought that in the latter stages of quarter number 2, but it didn't work out that way. As Jenkins will motion to a wing on the right of the formation, and now Reynolds will step forward as a personal protector, and Birch will punt it. It'll take a very nice roll for the Gateway Gators. And like I said in the first half, they're far from pretty, but they get the job done, as that'll set the Warriors up at the 20-yard line.
Earlier in the season, we would see him at the last minute back up a few paces. I think I'd like to see him do that again because he's real dangerously close to that offensive line. Not even getting it blocked by the opposing team, but as we saw with one of the PAT attempts earlier for Penn Trafford, kicking it into the backside of your own guy, that's the last thing the Gators need, is to set up Penn Trafford with a short field to work with. After really in that second quarter, the Gators clamped down, and other than the long pass play to Tasso Whipple that resulted in the 70-plus yard touchdown, they've done a good job bottling things up.
Louver in the pistol, hands off. Whipple trying to run right, but he runs into Noodles. Ramen Payne with the stop.
Hey, we're used to seeing Payne sort of open up the holes for the linebackers and the other folks to get those tackles for loss in the backfield. That time, it's him getting it all done by himself, just crashing in there, taking care of business. But Ahmad Harris down on the field for the Gators, and boy, would that be a loss for them if he's unable to continue in this one.
Harris shaking up.
There was at least one Warrior that had fallen down on top of him. He was away from the play. I saw it on the replay. And they are tending to what appears to be his right leg right now, the athletic training staff. We'll take another look at this one. Obviously the focus of the play, Whipple running right. And you see Harris go down there, a Warrior on top of him, and gingerly gets up. Great sportsmanship there by Riley McCaw. Literally not piling on as he was on top of Harris, keeping the body weight up.
You saw him, looked like he slipped a little bit when he went to initiate contact to get through the blocker and sort of fell backwards awkwardly. Luckily, he didn't hit his head, no concussion concerns, but certainly tending to his legs there, and everyone sort of holds their breath here because you hate to see anyone, especially a senior, midway through. It's been a special campaign here for him to come up with a serious, potentially serious injury.
Initially, they were looking at the right leg. That seems to be okay. Now tending to the left leg, and this will give us an opportunity to look in the rearview mirror and then what's ahead for the Penn Trafford Warriors. They started off the season with losses to Cannon McMillan and the McKeesport Tigers. Cannon Mac 6A, McKeesport in 4A. And then, of course, they traveled to Woodland Hills, got the victory, a 2-point win at the Wolverina, before taking on Bell Vernon, where they lost 21-0 here at Warriors Stadium. And then moved into conference play, where they got victories over Hempfield, on the road at Norwin, taking on the Gateway Gators tonight. And they still have 2 conference games due, the Warriors at Plum next week, and then they finish off the regular season at Franklin Regional on Friday, October 27th. But in between those 2 games, a game against the University of North Allegheny, and that'll be a home game here at Warriors Stadium.
Yeah, still a lot to be decided in this season, and you talk about this Big East and how it might potentially shake out. Franklin Regional right now all over top of the Norwin Knights, 28-6 at last check, and so it looks like once again it's going to come down to those 3 teams vying for 2, potentially 3 spots. 5A has had a lot more parity in it than I think we originally thought it would this season, and while I thought at the beginning of the season it'd be very unlikely to see a team get a wild card from the Big East, if you're looking at 3 teams that are 5-0 or 4-1 potentially, as this could shake out to be a bit of a log jam. Let's say hypothetically Penn Trafford wins tonight, but then Franklin Regional beats Penn Trafford. A very plausible situation. All of a sudden, 3 4-1 teams probably all get into the postseason. So there is a path forward for 3 teams to make it from the Big East, and Franklin Regional is still very much a team to watch here in the Big East.
Good news for Gators fans. Ahmad Harris, while walking to the sideline with assistance, did put a decent amount of weight on that left leg. As the Warriors send quads to the left of the formation, toss to this near side left, and the pass is batted by Kenny Lewis and will fall to the turf, incomplete, as Jair Phillips was trailing the play, trying to make an interception for the Gators.
Yeah, dangerous pass on a number of levels. That very, very nearly tipped at the line of scrimmage. Good pressure inside by a couple Gators, and very nearly getting a pop on that one was Jacob Santo, and right in tow with him was Craig Schultz. And then from there, Lewis played that ball real well. If that one's tipped up a little bit higher, Gators might be going the other way with a full head of steam toward the end zone.
So after a loss of 3 by Whipple, then the incomplete pass, we're looking at 3rd and 13 for the Warriors, ball at the 17. Low snap. And did the QB have his knee down? They whistles do blow as Johnny Louver down on that knee.
Yep, good call. Simple as that. Went down to corral it. Had that knee touch. We saw last week Brad Birch avoid a couple times with low snaps or losing his footing in Antimarino Stadium. As Bob Orquist said, almost breakdancing, sort of keeping himself upright when it looked like he had nearly gone down and extending plays.
Low snap yet again, but Louver will get the punt away. Carries to that far side and takes a bounce in favor of the Gators, so smartly it will be downed by Dallas Oxendine. It'll be 1st and 10 for Gateway inside of Warriors territory, so another big stop for the Gateway Gators gives the Gators offense an opportunity here inside of Warriors territory.
Yeah, give credit to the defense after, again, getting gashed. I was overhearing, in the first half on his own, Tasso Whipple, 15 carries, 160 yards, plus the 73-yard touchdown reception. You talk about giving up 230 offensive yards to one player and still being one score away. That's great work by the defense.
Toss to Kenny Lewis on the near side. Nice block by Harper, and Kenny Lewis carries it inside the 40, so it shows some strength as Tyler Boss gets run through. And second and very manageable 2 at the 38.
Like them getting the ball into Lewis's hands here early on the second drive, getting that confidence and that connection. They tried to go to him on the last drive. There was another miscommunication. I like them going back to Lewis on this one.
Up the gut, it's Reynolds. He's got the first down and more, brought down near the 20-yard line. So the Gators run a play to the right side. They fake the same play to the left side, but instead this time they go up the gut to Reynolds. Really nice play calling there by the Gators.
Absolutely. They've kept this defense of the Warriors on their toes all night. A nice balance of run, pass, just a little trickeration sprinkled in on top. They've done a great job scheming this one up.
Birch, straight drop back, setting up the screen to Reynolds. Nice blockers in front of him. Reynolds inside of the 10, down to the 5, still on his feet, and finally knocked down to the turf at around the 3-yard line. A big hit by Paul Dara.
No kidding. He got walloped at the end of that one. A good job, again, taking a shot that he didn't necessarily see at the end, hanging on to that ball, and a great job by these guys up front, getting out in front and setting the blocks and putting them in position to get a 1st and goal.
Handoff goes to Reynolds. He'll pick up maybe a yard, maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage. Looks like the spot will be at the 3, so no gain, and 2nd and goal stays at the 3.
Big opportunity here for the Gators after a big stop, short punt, and a couple big plays to really take control of this game. These are those big yards against a really big front for Penn Trafford. Can you move bodies around just enough? Can you do enough misdirection to get these final 3 yards?
Handoff to Reynolds, lowers the shoulders, drives the pile. Gets down to the 1. And that brings up 3rd and goal.
Sorry, Adam, Reynolds has got to be real careful sticking that ball out at the end. Take another look. You heard some people here in the booth calling for a fumble. They called it down, the whistle. You see him fall down there at the end, but that was close.
Well, this time it's even closer. It's actually into the end zone for a Gateway touchdown. Little speed to the right for Jaquan Reynolds, and Carmen Metcalf can't make the play at the goal line, and it's a Gators TD.
Simple enough, just pitch it and allow Reynolds to use that breakaway speed to beat Metcalf to the end zone there. And Gators with an opportunity now, one Blake Marsh extra point away from potentially taking the lead.
So Marsh on to attempt the PAT, like you say, out of the hold of Jair Phillips. Good snap, good hold, kick up, kick is good, and Gateway claims the lead, 14-13. Events we talked about in half number 1, Carl Heller with the PAT that was no good into the backside of a bunch of offensive linemen. And all of a sudden that PAT in big play as the Gators have the lead 14-13.
And again, Reynolds, that glue guy that we don't, I think, talk about enough on this offense now. Both touchdowns tonight for the Gators, punctuating these drives with some tough running towards the goal line. He took that big hit and sort of bowled over and extended the ball on the first one. This time, getting that hit from Metcalf at the end, but hanging onto the ball and getting across the goal line, as you'll see one more time here. He's got 11 touchdowns on the season, sneakily putting up some really big numbers for the Gators. The yards aren't quite there. The beginning of the season was some tough sledding, but over these last 4 weeks, the bulk of those 11 touchdowns have come. You're talking about a guy who's averaging close to 3 touchdowns a game in this winning streak. He has really been special for the Gators.
And off the top of my head, a half a dozen touchdowns in the last 2 games. Is that correct?
Yeah, and counting. Hopefully.
Yeah, 4 last week, 2 today. What a couple of weeks for Jaquan Reynolds.
He had a handful against both Plum and Franklin Regional as well. The numbers escape me from a game-to-game snapshot, but really, truly, with how much the offense struggled, they only had 15 points through those first 3 games, and memory serves, the touchdown against Mount Lebanon was a Birch touchdown run, and then in the North Hills game it was a special teams touchdown by TJ Mitchell. So you really are looking at 3.5 games, 11 touchdowns. I mean, that is, you're going to find it, at any level here, 1A to 6A, tough for guys to put together that level of production. And again, it's the big numbers yardage-wise aren't there, but you talk about a guy that you can count on and lean on to get those yards in these tough situations, put your team in front here in the second half of a big-time rivalry game. Reynolds has been that guy.
So again, as we look forward for next week, the Gators obviously had no problem getting up for this game against the Penn Trafford Warriors. It's the big conference rivalry between perennially the 2 top teams in the Big East Conference, the Penn Trafford Warriors and the Gateway Gators, the battle for the bell. I mean, we could talk ad nauseum about what this game means to these 2 teams. But next week, the Gators have to step out of conference, step out of classification, as they will take on the McKeesport Tigers next Friday, as we have back-to-back games against McKeesport, volleyball on Thursday and then football on Friday night. But, a lot of these players got to have some revenge on their mind after the Tigers put it to the Gators in McKeesport last year.
Boy, did they. And a few pieces have turned over, but Boyd is still there in the backfield for McKeesport. They still got some of those interior linemen that made life difficult for the Gators, and certainly they will be looking for that revenge.
Still got a lot of football to play here, though, before we get to that, as this ball will be returned by Oxendine. But he is met at the 10-yard line and brought down. Another spectacular special teams play by Terrence Cole.
Absolutely. We talk a lot about him in the return game, but, he almost very nearly made a tackle deep in territory on the last kickoff. This time, able to break down a little bit more, doesn't over-pursue the return man, and is able to make that tackle. And now it's a long field ahead for an offense here with the Warriors that's not had that same spark as it did early in this one.
Long snapper, backup quarterback, and now inside linebacker Jackson Smith in there for Ahmad Harris as the Warriors go to the ground, running to the right-hand side. It is Whipple, and he will drag tacklers with him, take it all the way out to the 20, close to the first down flag.
Man, those little fundamentals with the running back. Watch Whipple here get an extra 3-4 yards by just continuing to drive those legs. Those are yards that you don't think about in the moment, but turn a 3rd and 4 into a 3rd and 1. Just allow you to stay on schedule as an offense. That's just so important to have a back who is cognizant of that and able to make those extra yards happen.
J.R. Phillips with the tackle on that previous play for the Gators. Is to the ground go the Warriors, running to the left-hand side as Whipple. He'll get the first down, driving his way out towards the 25 as Jenkins was the first Gator there. Also cleaned up by Santa.
Penn Trafford's happy to play it this way. There's still plenty of time in this game, and they will definitely come at you again and again and try to death by 100 paper cuts. It's that one play where you take it off, where they gash you and go for a long gain. So they're going to have Grabowski in the backfield now, both of their big-time runners in the Wildcat.
Motion man from left to right as Grabowski is in the pistol. Snap through his hands. It's loose. It's kicked around. Do the Gators get it? There's a mass of humanity. The Gators had a clear opportunity at it initially, but somehow it slid through that Gateway player's hands. And they're going to unpile, and it's going to be Penn Trafford ball.
The Gators have got to be kicking themselves that close to really fundamentally turning this game on its head. I mean, you talk about the opportunity to set up shop at about the 15-yard line offensively. Somehow Grabowski able to flip himself around. That ball was down at his ankles, and somehow he ends up on top of it. So the freshman making a big play there after a huge miscue to keep this drive alive.
Hoover now the quarterback in the empty set, trips right to receivers at the short side left. Setting up the screen, a lot of room for Metcalf. Metcalf breaks free. He's got the first down. Still on his feet to the midfield stripe. The tackle is finally made by Carlos Diggs.
And then what a You talk about the game turning on its head. Talk about a play that shifts from 2nd and 20 deep in your own end to Metcalf. This play should get stopped right about here. But bad tackling, arm tackling, and then from there, even this effort here trying to swipe that ball loose, that's all well and good, but you got to make sure to get the guy as well. And Metcalf, much like cut from the same cloth as a lot of these other guys for Penn Trafford, they are really, really hard to bring down if you're not going to tackle them with good form.
Smart play by John Monroeville as he had the Gators with their ears peeled back, ready to get at the quarterback after the previous play. To the ground, Whipple trying to run right. Nowhere to go. Jenkins was the first one there, and then a couple of Gators clean it up, including Donovan Biggs.
Ball still only at midfield. For the Gators defense, got to exhale, recenter. Good job there on first down, not hanging your heads, getting to the backfield, blowing that play up, and again, pushing Penn Trafford back behind the chains, pushing them off schedule with what they want to do, which is just continue to come at you with the run. The more you push them into these 2nd and 3rd and long situations, you're forcing them to go to the air. Just not their preference. Able to execute, but not their preference.
Motion to two wings on the right, and they'll go back to the left side with it, and Whipple is met at the line of scrimmage, banged around, brought down, maybe a gain of 1 ultimately, but the Gators were all over that one as Jenkins, amongst others, make the stop.
And Adam, look at just the fire. You talk about this defense pinning its ears back. They look confident. The most confident I think we've seen them all season in flocking to the ball carrier and believing that good things are going to happen. And we saw them get pushed back so much those first 3 weeks. They're going out there and they are inflicting the punishment now, and they just look so sharp and so motivated. This is really a fun Gators team to watch over these past several weeks.
3rd down and 11. Louver in the pistol. Whipple behind him. Play action. Tosses the pass incomplete to Metcalf. Biggs was there on the coverage, but that's a pass Metcalf probably should have been able to pull in.
Absolutely. Good coverage, but a nice ball from Louver as well. Put that where the receiver needed it, and just through the hand. So a big drop on both sides now. We'll see if Penn Trafford, they will bring that punt unit out, it looks like.
So basically wholesale substitutions, though Louver is the punter as well as the quarterback, and that'll send Kenny Lewis back on the return.
Interesting to see that on both sides. You don't normally see both teams have their quarterbacks also as the punter.
Kenny Lewis backseat.
This one, a punt that will bounce to Lewis at around the 14. Cuts it near side. 25 to the 26, and he'll step out of bounds. Forced out by Joe Jackson. It'll be 1st and 10 for Gateway at the 26.
Decent little return by Lewis, making something out of nothing. Little hesitation and cuts back. And all of a sudden, decent field position just up over the 25 for the Gators, who got to be feeling themselves offensively. Just seems like, other than some of the miscues that have plagued themselves, some drops, some miscommunications on routes, for the most part, it's just been smooth sailing for this offense. They've been confident. They look like they just are able to do it whichever way they want. Run, pass, it's all working.
Play action. Toss left. It's complete to Jenkins. Jenkins slides through a tackle. Still on his feet. Dives his way forward across the 35. They'll say he's actually downed at the 35. Looked like he got a bounce to the 36. But still a nice gain. Brings up 2nd and very manageable.
Yeah, they look very calm. Birch has had a lot of time, just the 1 sack tonight. He's had time to make his reads, go through things, and get that ball out at the pace he wants.
Toss right. Jenkins has a blocker and Harper in front of him. And Kenny Lewis will step out of bounds. And according to the spot on the far side, it's enough for a Gateway first down. It is a Gators first down.
Well, plays are all about context, right? I mean, any other play that's underwhelming, but you get just enough there for the first down. That's all that matters. Keep this drive moving.
And you keep the clock rolling, because once the ball's set, the chains are set, the clock starts running, because we are outside of the time when the clock would stop in the latter stages of the 2nd and 4th quarters. Hand off. Reynolds, he's got nowhere to go. In the backfield to make the stop for Penn Trafford, Jasmine Yurt, the sophomore. Jamison Yurt, excuse me.
Yeah, you're just a good job there getting off the block, knifing into the backfield. I like the Gators continuing to keep with the run, intermixed here, keep that defense on its toes. If nothing else, keep them honest. Well, you can sell that play action hopefully later in the drive.
2 receivers to either side. Birch, quarterback draw, still on his feet. Out across the 45 to the first down flag.
Some laundry on the field, but boy, Birch, a great second effort there to pinball off of the first would-be tackler. We don't talk about it much because he doesn't do it often, but pretty good as a runner.
Personal foul, face mask against Penn Trafford. So tack 15 on top of the 10-yard run for Birch.
All gravy right now for the Gators, and if you are Gateway, you've got to find a way to come away with some points here, because this feels like an inflection point in this game, Adam, where you can really start to break the will. Hard to believe that any Penn Trafford team would ever go away in any game because they're so well coached and so physical. But at the end of the day, I mean, you get a chance to go up 7, 8 points here if you're able to come away with a touchdown, and all of a sudden you're the team that can start trying to salt this away with the short passing game and running it with Jaquan Reynolds.
Bird straight drop back. Across the middle, complete to Lewis. Still on his feet, bouncing off tacklers to the 10, the 5, across the goal line for a Gateway touchdown.
Look at that. And this could not only be a turning point in this game, but again in this season, Adam. How often in big games over the past several years have we seen the Gators, like we saw much in the first half, close but not able to finally get across that threshold? There's something different about this Gators offense and the body language and the attitude of this team right now. They look like a team that could contend in 5A.
Good snap, good hold, kick up, kick good, and Gateway takes an 8-point advantage, 21-13, with 41 seconds to play in the third quarter. And then so many things changed when the Gators went from preseason non-conference play to conference play a few weeks ago. You know, we saw Don Hall return to the sideline. We saw a different swagger about this team. We saw a different confidence about this team. A team never hanging their head, a team that never felt down. You know, in a situation like last week, for instance, when Gateway found themselves up at halftime big on Hempfield, and then Hempfield came back, made it a 7-point game, 28-21. Then the Gators just ripped off 35 straight.
Absolutely. And, you know, as fast as Hempfield was able to get back into that game, it was over. I mean, they just, all 3 phases of the game came out and punched Hempfield right in the mouth and made there no doubt about who the superior team in that contest was. And it made for, you know, we went from midway through the third quarter, it being 28-21, as you said, to a running clock in the fourth quarter. I mean, they put mercy rule numbers up in less than 1 quarter. And so there's something about this offense that's finally started to click. The plays that they didn't have enough time to develop early in the season, the missed block assignments, all these things. You know, as the season has gone on, tremendous credit to Don Hall and his coaching staff. They have continued to grow as a team, and the chemistry, they just look super comfortable and confident out there.
Ball carries down to around the 5-yard line. There's an opportunity for a decent return here for Penn Trafford, but the Gators say no way as Carlos Diggs comes up and makes the solo stop on Michael Cheplik.
And boy, this crowd is filled out a little bit. Not quite as many folks as we saw 2 years ago here in Harrison City, but my goodness, the air has been taken out of this crowd. They need something here to get back into this one, because ever since that 73-yard touchdown reception by Tasso Whipple, it's been basically crickets on all 3 phases of the game from Penn Trafford.
Gateway defense needs to hold strong at this point, though. A stop here goes a long way to putting a cap on this game, but you've got to keep Tasso Whipple in your sights, including on that particular play as he carries it out across the 15 to the 17-yard line for a gain of about 5 before he's gang tackled by dozens of white jerseys, even though there's only 11 out there on the field.
Yeah, it sure feels that way, right? Especially on these last couple kick returns. You see 4 or 5 guys flying in there. It feels like, is there a number advantage out there or something like that? But no, the Gators are just flocking toward the ball. It looks like we've reached the end of the third quarter, Adam.
So we have played 3 quarters of football, and the Gateway Gators have come back to claim a 21-13 lead. over the Penn Trafford Warriors. We're going to take a pause, back with fourth quarter action. You're tuned in to Gateway Football right here on GatewayGatorProductions.com. Penn Trafford Warriors have the ball 2nd down and 5 at their own 17 as we begin quarter number 4 here at Warriors Stadium. Adam Gusky, Vince Russo on the call for you. You're on GatewayGatorProductions.com. Gators up by 8 right now. Handoff, Whipple tries to cut it right, but the Gators are swarming.
We talked about it, Adam. They got to mind their P's and Q's. You're still just one play away from Penn Trafford having a 2-point conversion opportunity to tie this game up. And Whipple, as we've seen, not the most elusive back. He is quick, but just as they always are here at Penn Trafford, guys are tough to bring down because they're going to make you work for every single tackle. It's that one play you take off that they zoom right past you to the end zone. And so good job thus far by the Gators. Staying at home, staying physical, driving those legs, and trying to churn Whipple and company back into the backfield.
Whipple motions to 4 receivers on the near side right. The pass is complete to Whipple. However, he was going forward when the ball was snapped. He was driven back by Kenny Lewis. It'll be close to the first down at the end of the play, but like I said, it did look like Whipple was going forward at the snap.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and I'm very confident that's going to be the call. Lewis, a good job. Now, that was real close. Got to let go of him there at the end, and he did. A little step over him, but no harm, no foul.
So that illegal motion penalty is going to push them back 5 yards. Going to bring up 3rd down and 5, or excuse me, 3rd down and 10 instead of 3rd down and 5, as this ball is going to be pushed back actually to the 11, making it 3rd and 11. And Vince has rewind to the play prior to that one. What a great block shed by Kayan Mbandi, one of the reserve defensive linemen who was in there. Shed the block, made the stop, but Santo was the first Gator there, and Mbandi cleaned it up.
Yeah, they've really been dominating at that point of attack in the trenches here in this second half. And hopefully they're able to get their ears pinned back here on what should be a passing situation. And got to keep an eye on number 34. He burned you the last time, and on that play, made a nice reception out of the backfield even though he was moving forward. Gators got to be careful here and keep an eye on him and watch these little bubble screens.
Whipple dots the pistol. Louver pressured, hit, wrapped, still on his feet. Now he's not. He's brought down shy of the 5-yard line. The Gators were everywhere, and finally Jacob Santo makes the play.
Boy, I'm glad they got to him because Whipple had a step and he was open on that far side of the field. You won't see it here because you'll see quarterback just running for his life here, trying to get away as Louver to no success. And now we've seen this bite the Gators before. You got to be real careful with this snap here deep in your own end zone. Can't have it be low. You can't go down and take the knee or it's a safety. Can't snap out of bounds. That's safety. And got to be careful you don't get it blocked this deep in your own territory.
Good snap. Louver gets it away. They'll take a bounce in favor of the Warriors, and Kenny Lewis will just let it roll into Gators territory because regardless of how good the punt is, it's still great field position for the Gators at their own 46.
Who've absolutely been humming on offense, and it just gives you that much more time. If they go on a drive here, Adam, and are able to take away 4 or 5 minutes off the clock and come away with some points, whether that be 3 or 6, you really start to think at a 2-score game with a team that's not built to come from behind, that might be curtains. Now, you got to take care of the ball. You got to get there and get this done. But a good job there by Lewis, just sidestepping that one, avoiding temptation, not making any play. Don't beat yourself. Make your opponent beat you. You got great field position to start here, 54 yards to pay dirt, and an offense that's been absolutely humming in this second half.
An absolutely special rivalry between Gateway and the Penn Trafford Warriors. The cheerleaders celebrating that along the sideline. Right now, the Gators trying to get the victory and hold on to the belt for back-to-back seasons. As Brad Birch is going to tuck and run. He's to the 50, to the 45, where he's got the first down for the Gators. And the tackle finally made by Jesse Lipson.
Something clicked, you know. An unsung hero this season might end up being Sid Bryant. When he was in there at quarterback, he's got a little bit more size to him. During that Woodland Hills game, they started calling more design quarterback runs. That stayed when Brad Birch returned to the quarterback position, and that extra little wrinkle in this offense has been really, really dynamic for them.
Handoff, Reynolds running left, picking up a yard or two. The clock, the Gators' friend in the process as well, as there's 9 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in regulation.
Sure is, and we've talked about this before, both you and I and other folks on the crew and Bob Orquist last week, is you have 30 seconds on the play clock. Do you want to take that and wind it down, or do you want to stay in your rhythm because you are by nature an up-tempo offense? It's a weird juxtaposition to be in.
Quarterback draw, Birch. Such great patience, long strides, takes it down inside of the 35 to the 34.
6'1", 187 pounds, not the most imposing, but he's a sneaky 6'1", and he has these long strides. You see him sort of duck his head there at the end. Big third down for the Gators.
3rd and 1. Gateway trying to draw Penn Trafford offsides. Play clock not running, just started to run in fact. Well, that's clearly some issue with the operator up here, but the Gators will be more than happy to let that clock continue to tick away. Now they'll go to the ground, handoff. Reynolds hesitates, then bursts through for a Gateway first down.
Keep that clock running here deep in territory. Try to get yourself at least into field goal range, if not all the way to pay dirt.
Sornowski and Smith.
Handoff, Reynolds cutting right and sliding his way forward inside of the 30 to the 28-yard line. The clock continues to roll, and the Gateway Gators continue to pick up positive yardage.
If you can keep getting those little chunks of yardage, keep moving things forward, no reason to go away from it. It's safe. Just need Reynolds to keep hanging on to the ball there. Only problem you run into is you start running the read option. You don't want any sort of miscommunication pulling that ball out the last minute.
Toss to the right-hand side through the hands of Harper.
Almost intercepted.
Yeah, caromed off of Harper, and then a diving in Warrior in Mason Newell.
Take a look at that. About a step away from being able to maybe cup that one and flip the possession, which would have made things real interesting real quick.
And that incomplete pass stops the clock, which works in favor of the home team. Birch sends a man in motion, little play action, setting up the screen, toss to the right, complete. Reynolds cuts it back inside, first down and more, still on his feet to the 10, slides down to the 5-yard line.
And, maybe fortuitous that he doesn't score there because the Gators are going to be forced to have to chew up more clock as Carmen Metcalf able to save the touchdown on that one. But take another look. Good job by Reynolds just sort of floating out there. Another great play design here and play call on 3rd down. And right there, you see at the end of that play, if he scores there, that might be curtains, but keeps this clock running here.
Reynolds runs into a pile, gets pushed back, but still picks up about a yard on the play as Paul Dara makes the tackle.
Reynolds was the bell cow the last time to get these last tough yards. This is sort of the last stand here for Penn Trafford. Can they turn away the Gators and try and keep this a one-possession game? Or can the Gators find a way to muscle through, get these final yards?
The clock continues to wind. Down to 6 minutes to go. Birch runs left. Can he turn the corner? He does. He absorbs contact and drives his way to the boundary, but stays in bounds, gets the knee down before going out of bounds as Metcalf gets involved in the tackle.
That starts to become real interesting, Adam. If you don't get it done on this play, you almost have to go with the field goal, right? Make it a 2-possession game. Obviously, you're in extra point territory well within Blake Marsh's range. It could be a procedural penalty against the Gators.
So that's going to cost Gateway 5 yards, pushing them back. And when you're in that 3rd and 3, especially when you're on the hash, you've got a tough road to hoe, but this makes things a little bit easier. Gives you a little bit more room.
Yeah, if you do want to try and go to the air here, it does give you a little bit more room, Adam, but you got to be careful. Last thing you want to do is turn the ball over here. You're well within field goal range to potentially make this a 2-score game. Even if you got to take a sack here, take care of the ball.
Birch, straight drop back, toss back to Jenkins. Jenkins cutting right. Can he pick up the block? He does. That's going to be a peel back block, so whatever happens, it's going to be negated on the penalty on that peel back block.
Yeah, I know. Back in the day, that was just a solid block, but times have changed, and they really put an emphasis on these blindside blocks, ear-holing people, as they used to call it. And yeah, that's textbook. They're going to call that every time.
Absolutely. And it's tough because you're of the makeup. Make the play. Make the block. Spring your player. And that's what Reynolds wanted to do there. But like you said, a blindside block, a block where Reynolds is going away from the goal and towards the goal line the Gators are defending.
While they sort that out and we have a second, I want to let people know the Big East score of note tonight. It was 28-6 Franklin Regional. And all season long we've talked about how this Norwin team doesn't quit. 37-29 Norwin hanging around in that one with about 2.5 minutes left. If Norwin could find a way to spring an upset in that one, it would really create a much clearer path for both of these teams on the field tonight to secure playoff bids.
3rd down and goal at the 23. Clock winding under 5 minutes. Trips on the left, 2 on the right. Birch in the gun. Birch, single coverage on the right side. Just a little too strong for Jenkins. That's the second time we've seen Birch overthrow Jenkins, and the 3rd time we've seen him overthrow a touchdown tonight.
Yeah, had a step there. If he can just pull that one down just a little bit, that would have been a really tight window. Would have been a tough throw. But now you put it on number 88, the senior, Blake Marsh. If he makes this, the path towards reclaiming the bell becomes pretty clear. Just a little left from 41, this one a little closer.
On the right hash for the right-footed kicker. This carrying well. And that field goal is good. A 40-yard field goal for Blake Marsh. Puts the Gateway Gators up by 11 points.
Wow, what a kick. A big-time make there by Marsh. And that really puts the Gators, who are now up by 11, in a position where Penn Trafford's going to have to abandon the friendly confines of the run game and go to the air here. And now, if you're that down lineman for the Gators, you get to pin your ears back. And if you're the guys like Steve Jenkins or Kenny Lewis in the backfield, you get to play ball hawk and try to take one away here.
And that was as perfect of an execution of a field goal you'll see at any level. No less at the high school level. Great snap by Jackson Smith, perfect hold by J.R. Phillips, and a great kick by Blake Marsh.
And great practice for situations that'll come up late in the season. You know, we saw the Gators get eliminated from the playoffs 2 years ago against Penn Hills after Marsh, or Cole Plaskin rather, missed a field goal, but from about 38, I want to say, at the death. And so to have that confidence that you can have this guy step in, nail a 40-yard field goal in a big, big moment against a rival to help you get that much closer to a potential conference championship, those are just continued building blocks as you inch towards the postseason.
Vince, you touched on Cole Plaskin, the kicker a couple of seasons ago. Look a little further back in the rearview mirror. Think about Jason Jenkins, a kicker the Gateway Gators had our first season here on Gateway Gator Productions. And just an anecdote while we have a moment. A couple of weeks ago, he's the place kicker for the Robert Morris University Colonials. They were playing at Joe Walton Stadium. A PAT is blocked and it's scooped up by the Robert Morris opponent, and whoever it is running down the far sideline, and he's got room. And Jason Jenkins finds a whole other speed, some Gator speed as I called it, and he made the stop around the 50-yard line to prevent 2 more points for the Robert Morris opponent.
Hey, at that point, you cease being a kicker and you just become a defensive player, and you're called on to make plays, and sometimes that, that's kind of like when you go to work and you get assigned something that you weren't expecting at the beginning of the day, but every job description has that other duties is assigned at the bottom of it. For Jenkins, able to come through in a clutch moment for the Colonials on that one.
Blake Marsh, 5'9", 155-pound senior kicker, will kick this one away for the Gateway Gators after booming a 40-yard field goal to put the Gators up by double digits. As this one will carry back to around the 2-yard line for Cheplick, and Cheplick is met at around the 20 and pulled back by a host of Gateway Gators.
I tell you what, Adam, this game, you talk about the difference from the first quarter and the 3 quarters, coming after it. Penn Trafford was bullying the Gators at the line. They were all kinds of running room. Tasso Whipple, really the large bulk of those 160 yards he had in the first half came in that first quarter with 2 really long runs. And it seemed like they were getting about 8 to 10 yards downfield before anyone was even getting a hand on the running back. And since then, they've had to claw and scratch and fight for everything. I can't give enough credit to the defensive coaching staff of the Gators and the players that have gone out and executed and how hard they've made things for Peters Township.
Pass to the near side intended for Weishar is incomplete.
Gators might have got away with one there, as you see a little push there at the end by Kenny Lewis. That's probably just a little below board, but to the credit of these officials, they've kind of let things play so far tonight.
That wasn't a late hit, buddy. You should leave.
So it's 2nd down and 10 for the Penn Trafford Warriors, as the Warrior faithful down below us starting to get restless.
I'm happy for you.
Toss left, complete. Down the middle of the field, wide open for Penn Trafford was Nick Ponko.
Well, that's the one thing you don't want to do is give up big, big chunk plays. The Gators are going to be a little more off the ball. You don't want anyone behind you. You don't want the big play, but you don't want to give up huge chunks either. If you're going to concede points here to Penn Trafford, you want to make them nickel and dime you the whole way down and use as much clock as you can.
Louver tossing to the right-hand side. Pass behind Metcalf, but he's able to catch that one on his hip as he's down inside of Gators territory at the 49. The clock continues to wind.
That's more like it. You'll give them 8 yards every play if it means that they've got to continue to use this much clock.
Run right, Whipple trying to cut it back. He'll pick up the first down for the Penn Trafford Warriors, but he's brought down in the field of play. Mark Knight involved in the tackle. Santo also in on the stop.
Revisiting a few plays ago, the one thing you don't want to do is take defensive penalties. Anything gets 15 yards, and more importantly, stops the clock. Anything you can do to keep this clock moving is going to help you. Gators
on an all-out blitz. Toss to the left-hand side. Carmen Metcalf has some room as he's brought down after picking up a first down. S.J. Moorfield on the tackle.
Moorfield finally got that hand cast off. Use both hands again. That time, though, didn't use the fingers, just sort of used the elbow. Gave a little shove there at the end.
Louver looking right, has time. Tosses to the right-hand side where it is caught. Weishar with a combat catch.
Yeah, he had Kenny Lewis draped all over him. I wouldn't have been surprised if they would have thrown a flag on this one at the end. Lewis probably gets in there just a little early, but a nice reception there by Weishar.
Clock winding, just over 2.5 minutes to go now. Louver, play action. Tosses to Metcalf, who holds on again and carries it inside of the 5.
Metcalf, a three-sport athlete. Coach Ruin calls him a dying breed. Plays baseball and hoops as well. Ball's
loose, yeah. A handoff goes awry as Louver didn't have the snap cleanly, then tried to hand it off to Tasso Whipple, and Whipple had to dive on it at the 5-yard line, which just keeps that clock grinding. Handoff, Whipple. Tracked down from behind,
loose again.
And stripped loose.
Oh, they marked him down. The knee may have come down first, but a heads-up play on the back end there. It looks like, again, S.J. Moorfield, boom, hitting that one loose.
Yeah, it looked like Whipple got the ball back regardless. Saw that club come in from S.J. Handoff, Whipple running left into the end zone for a Penn Trafford touchdown. And there's 90 seconds to go here, and the Warriors have life.
And they'll be going for 2 here to try and make this a 3-point game. Then it comes down to the onside kick. They were able to recover one earlier. Can they do it again? But of course, it's all going to come down to your outlook on this game. Comes down to whether or not you get this 2-point conversion here, and whether or not, if you can get the ball back, you're looking for 3, you're looking for 6. If you're the Gators, you didn't want to get anything behind you. You're playing prevent defense. You didn't let up a big play. But still 90 seconds with probably a few more ticks than you'd be comfortable with. Not to mention Penn Trafford still with all 3 timeouts to boot, as Gators going to burn their first.
I think this is a good time for Gateway to use a timeout, talk strategy, make sure you are prepared to make this stop, because a stop here means that Penn Trafford not only has to get the ball back from the Gateway Gators, they've got to score a touchdown.
Absolutely. All these little situational things, the chess that comes at the end of the game. And we knew no matter what, this was going to be a game that came down to the last few blows here between these 2 Big East heavyweights. What a game we've had tonight. What an effort by the Gators after getting really punched in the mouth in that first quarter to return and for the majority of this game play like the better team tonight. Now, just comes down to situational football, getting this ball back on the onside kick that we expect to have coming here, and then finding a way to get 10 yards one time to put this one away.
Last year, the Gators got the victory 21-10 in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. 2 seasons ago, Penn Trafford got the victory here at Warrior Stadium. Option right, pitch to Whipple. He's got nowhere to go. The Gators are all over it. J.R. Phillips, Kenny Lewis, Jacob Santo, they're all there.
Big play there. They bottle it up. Desperation heave-ho to try and flip out on the option, and the Gators, they read that all the way. You look at that, 5 different white jerseys and black helmets in there, gang tackling at the end. And now the all-important onside kick.
I'll tell you what, Vince, I know it's kind of an unsung player, but Jackson Smith, a freshman, the Gators got themselves a football player in that young man. The first linebacker off of the bench tonight, and he's making an impact.
Scored a touchdown last week in relief as a quarterback as well. While there's a lot of veteran leadership on this team, there are some guys. S.J. Moorfield, he's a sophomore. Terrence Cole, he's a sophomore. There's a bit of a youth movement in this Gators team that has supplemented the depth they have in the upper class that has, one, been important this season under the Friday Night Lights. But if you're a Gators fan, just continues to have you salivating for the future and what these guys can do with additional reps in the weight room and off seasons to continue to prepare and get better.
Mark Knight, another player that's not a senior this year. He's a junior, so he'll be back on the Gators roster next season.
No shortage of talent across the board.
Pivotal onside kick here. Evan Sadler's going to attempt it. 5'6", 140-pound sophomore. Instead, it'll be kicked the other way. And it takes a bounce, and it's grabbed by a Gator. Racing down the far sideline, Tristan Houston. Will he go? He does! A kick return for a touchdown by Tristan Houston.
I was telling him to go down so he didn't have any chance to fumble. He said, heck with that, I'm going to turn on the Jets and take this one for a house call. And look at that, another sophomore making the play of the game to put this one away.
The nail in the coffin as Paul Dara's kick took two bounces, then a hop into the hands of Tristan Houston, who returns it to the house, 51 yards.
My goodness. And cue fans exiting, stage left. Crowd is starting to thin out.
What spectacular special teams play tonight by the Gateway Gators. Kick coverage was spectacular, just fantastic. But a kick return for a touchdown on the onside kick attempt. And that was prefaced by Blake Marsh's 40-yard field goal earlier that put Gateway up by 11.
And even the punt game as well. Marsh out-punted Louver, and all night the Gators had won the field position battle, which made things exponentially easier for them and tougher for Penn Trafford.
Also great punts tonight by Brad Birch. Just a great all-around game. And you look on that sideline, the young man with the black worm-ups and the Y, Dallas Harper. Check it out, his team defeating the Penn Trafford Warriors as the bell will head back to Monroeville.
Yeah. Fun to have him back in the building, and what a show he got tonight. Classic rivalry game, and really you talked about a complete performance, and I would go so far as to say, Adam, I think this is the most complete performance from this Gateway team tonight against a quality opponent, coming out after a sluggish first quarter, coming back, regrouping. You have some miscues in the second quarter. You don't hang your head offensively, even though you feel like you should go into the half with the lead after a drop touchdown. You come out in the second half, and you get it done. 13-7 at the half. Doing the quick mental math, you're outscoring your opponent 24-6 in the second half. What a complete performance.
Blake Marsh tees it up for the game.
So again, Marsh will kick this one away. And the Gators kick coverage unit will make its way down the field as this one rolls through the legs of Cheplick, the return man, but he touched it in the field of play.
He didn't go down. And now he's got him in a running room.
Still on his feet. Grabbed by Harper. Now there was a flag down back at around the 20-yard line, maybe a block at the back against the Penn Trafford Warriors, but well, that was a precarious couple of moments there for Michael Cheplick and the Penn Trafford Warriors.
What a way to make something out of nothing. I thought they might have got a horse collar on Harper there at the end, which even if he did, hey, you'll take that horse collar over letting up a touchdown any day. But no, it is going to be against the Warriors.
12-point game right now with 1:15 to play. Block in the back against the Penn Trafford Warriors, going to push them back even farther. Harper with the tackle. inspired by his brother on the sidelines. Parenthetically, I saw some videos on Facebook this past week. The young Harper, Khalid Harper, 2 touchdowns, great defensive plays against the McKeesport Tigers in the middle school game on Wednesday afternoon. Toss to the left, dual possession, and it's pulled away by Gateway. Now they're going to say first down, Penn Trafford. I mean, Carlos Diggs came out of there ultimately with it. Looked like he had more of the ball than the offensive player, Nick Ponko, but at this point, it's not necessarily a big deal with 66 seconds to play and the clock winding. Running right, tossing right. Broken up by Kenny Lewis, and now the flag's going to come in.
Yeah, Lewis, a little grabby there on that one. Had both hands on the receiver as that ball came in. It's a good call, and frustrating that you're going to move the ball with the clock stopped here. It feels like these last couple minutes, Adam, are taking a long time.
I really liked what what Kenny Lewis did with that right hand. That was clean. The left hand on the backside. That's what cost the Gators the 15 yards. Though it's still a 12-point game with a minute to go.
Just got to make sure you don't let anything behind you. Wilder things have happened, but as long as you, especially you got Biggs back there at safety, don't let anyone behind you. Should be all right.
Toss, Louver to the left. That could have just as easily been offensive pass interference against Penn Trafford's Nick Ponko, as Carlos Diggs had an opportunity to try to get underneath that one.
You see them tie up, and you see both hands on Diggs there at the end, who has every same right to the ball as a defender as the offensive player. And that little grab there at the end very likely held him up from being able to make a play on the ball. Not sure if he would have been able to get to that completely, but would have had a real good shot at it.
Louver looking left, throwing left, the pass. Caught, wow, what a great grab there. I think that was Jake Weishar making the stop as Penn Trafford Warriors take a timeout with 36 seconds to play here. Another sporting event of note here in the Pittsburgh area. Battle of 2 top 15 women's volleyball teams. And the Pitt Panthers found themselves behind 2-0, but stormed back for the reverse sweep on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
What a program they've built over that way.
And sometimes if our viewers and listeners are wondering where I am, that's where I am. Including last week as the Pitt Panthers volleyball team got the victory against an ACC opponent.
Couple big scores around this region. So Franklin Regional did hang on. They will move to 2-1 in conference play, which keeps them in the thick of things. All the Gators, as we know, have the tiebreaker over them. Peters Township, after leading by just 6, lays it on Moon. Moon is a team that looked like they were a couple big wins, but Peters Township put that to bed. They continue to look like the top team in 5A with a 40-7 win.
Toss down the left-hand side, and the pass will be incomplete.
That again looked like some contact from the receivers. No, they're going to call that a completed pass. Take a look at this, Adam. There's a little grab there offensively. Look, a little yank there at the end.
Diggs had it initially, and then, yeah, like you said, they do say it's pulled in by Ponko. Now a toss to the end zone where it's broken up by Gateway. Break up that time by S.J. Moorfield. And I'm sorry I misspoke previously on that, but I certainly don't think that Ponko caught that football 2 plays ago. Looked like it was on the turf. Nobody had a better view of that than Carlos Diggs, who said it was incomplete.
Well, they didn't take his word for it, but at this point,
why would they?
A moot point. This is just 18 seconds separating the Gators. Taking that battle of the bell home for a 2nd straight year. The first, as we've said, since they brought that bell back into the fold, that a road team is going to come away with the win.
High snap pulled in. Louver looking right, throwing right. And the pass is incomplete, looking for Metcalf. S.J. Moorfield on the on the coverage, rather.
Moorfield, just another one of these DBs for the Gators. It's been so solid tonight. They have so much talent back there. A lot of it young. The receiving core, veteran, a lot of senior heavy room. The DBs, they've got some youth back there. They got some guys that are going to be here for a little while. Still some seniors as well. As I checked in, Jair Phillips, Kenny Lewis, a couple guys back there. Not to mention Donovan Biggs, Steven Jenkins, but some guys that have spelled or played some crucial moments, and S.J. Moorfield definitely one of them.
Louver rolling right, tossing, has the receiver open short, racing to the goal line, brought down as he crosses the goal line by Jesse Lipson with 4 seconds to go. Now they call it a touchdown in the field, so there's nothing we can do about it, but as we take another look at this one, Lipson, I don't know that he necessarily got that ball across the goal line before he was down in the field of play, but
close, bang bang play. And now all those that left, this is still a game. Like we said, wilder things have happened. They were able to get an onside kick here. They would have to go for 6 again. There's no way to pull this within 3 for a field goal, but at this point, take a pretty miraculous effort from the Warriors to pull this off. But we've seen all sorts of things happen.
And I don't understand the thought process here. It doesn't matter if it's 6 points, 5 points, or 4 points. Right now, it's a 6-point game.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter which way you slice it up here, going for 1 or 2. You would probably want to go with the safer bet and get 1. That way it would not come down to the extra point if you did get the ball back and score. That would be my thought process at least.
And I'm with you on that one. Ultimately, it's 6, 5, or 4. Right now, they're trying to cut it down to 4. They'll send the bunch to the right of the formation. Pistol. Toss. Pulled in. And the Tasso Whipple 2-point conversion makes it a 4-point affair.
Oh, here we go. They got the 2, and now you got a player down on the field, and that is Moorfield. You hope that he's not dinged up anything serious, as he's going to take a minute to rest here. A couple moments ago, it was 31-19, and we thought we were well on our way to start to tear everything down here. Here we are at 10 right on the dot, p.m. Eastern time here on Eastern Standard Time. We still got ourselves, can't breathe yet, can't exhale yet. This one not over just yet.
Don't say standard time yet. We're still in daylight savings time. We'll shift to standard time coming up in a little while, and that's certainly something that I do not love. I'd much rather the sun be up until 6 p.m. instead of the sun coming up at 6 a.m.
I hear you. As someone who works from home, who's generally not even up at that point yet in the morning, I hear you. Save that daylight for later in the day. So we've seen a tale of 2 onside kicks at him. We saw one bounce off the up man and get recovered by Penn Trafford. We saw one get taken back to the house. I think if there's one thing they're going to do, they're not going to kick it towards number 33 this time.
Tristan Houston over there on that far sideline. He was the recipient of the bouncing kick, and he returned 51 yards for a touchdown. And we'll go that way again. And this time it's caught and covered up by another Gateway Gator. And they will let the clock tick out on the onside kick recovery by J.R. Phillips.
Well, that's your ball game, and what a heck of a game it was. Some theatrics there at the end to pad the stats and fill the sheets up a little bit, but by all intents and purposes, the Gators looked head and shoulders the better team tonight when all was said and done. A really complete effort, and we talked about offense, we talked about defense. I think I want to hone in just a little bit more on the special teams and what they were able to do to really, oh, we're not done.
Well, this is preposterous. The officials say there's 1 second remaining on the clock, and they're going to have a one-play drive here for the Gateway Gators. They say that 4 seconds can come off of the clock, and now the time will expire. And now the Gateway Gators will improve their record to 4-3 on the year and 4-0 in conference play.
So as I was saying.
Okay, back to you.
The special teams unit, I think, really shone brightly for the Gators tonight. All three phases were tremendous as the game went on for the Gators, but their ability, as we talked about, to flip the field. Birch, great punts tonight. You know, they were able to outduel Lorv and his abilities to kick the ball. Blake Marsh coming up with some incredible kicks. I mean, you could make a case for him being one of the MVPs of this game. And then the kick coverage team. I mean, they were suffocating. Penn Trafford, we've seen it happen to the Gators in games earlier this season when you've got to work with a longer field than your opponent. That field position game is so critical in the Gators. Working with short fields, we're able to make hay with that, put points on the board, got just enough to keep the Warriors at bay.
You've got to really give a lot of credit to the Gateway defense today, because while certainly you look at this game and you look at the score and it's a 4-point affair, for all intents and purposes, there were several instances where Gateway had put this game away, but Penn Trafford just wouldn't go away, wouldn't lick their wounds and finish the game off.
Absolutely. And I mean, credit to them. I mean, you play a full 48 minutes, so what are you going to do? Go out there, keep playing. Full credit to them. They are a talented team. I think we'll see them in the postseason when all is said and done. But absolutely, the defense, after getting gashed in that first quarter, giving up 160 yards in the first half to Tasso Whipple, they put the clamp down on the Penn Trafford Warriors, and my goodness, did they look the part of one of the better defensive units in 5A.
Heard the Gators ringing that bell as they will take it back to Monroeville. It's going in your car, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We'll put the back seats down.
Yeah.
Vince, your final thoughts on tonight's game?
Top to bottom, the best effort the Gators have put forth thus far this season. They looked confident. I think so much of the intangible things really excite me moving forward. That things did not go well in the first half at various points, both defensively getting gashed in the first quarter, second quarter looking a little bit haphazard and a lot of miscommunications offensively, but they never hung their head. They stuck in there, they made adjustments, and they continued to be resilient. We haven't always seen that out of the Gators, and that moving forward is something that gives me a lot of optimism for this team that was pegged as a contender in 5A at the beginning of the season, and now I think really, for the first time this season, fully looks the part of that contender in 5A.
The Gateway Gators now 4-3 on the season, undefeated 4-0 within the conference, while the Penn Trafford Warriors fall to 3-4 on the year and get their first conference loss of the season. That'll do it for our coverage this evening. We want to thank the good folks here at Penn Trafford, Kerry Hetrick and his entire staff, for making sure we had great accommodations, and I want to thank our entire crew for a great broadcast upstairs, and of course my broadcast partner Vince Russo. We'll talk to you again next week as the Gateway Gators host the McKee Sport Tigers right here on GatewayGatorProductions.com.